San Diego, it's time to fire it up. From the beaches to the ballparks, from the Gaslamp to North County, no one knows America's finest city like he does.
You can't just punt on a Manny Machado prime use.
He's a fourth-generation San Diegan, born and raised in the heart of this community. Passionate, opinionated, and always bringing you the real talk on your teams, your city, and everything in between.
Braden totally knows his stuff. He's ready for the next step. That guy is good.
Live and local, it's the Braden Surprenant Show.
But I think Braden's one of the up-and-coming young stars in the media game in San Diego.
Now, here's your host, Braden Surprenant.
What's up, San Diego? And happy Thursday to everybody out there in America's finest city. I'm Braden Surprenant. This is the Braden Surprenant Show, filling in for Ben and Woods for the final time this week. This will be our last show of the week as well, as everybody will have hopefully a wonderful 4th of July weekend. 4th of July on a Friday. That's kind of fun. A 3-day weekend built in. So we'll be taking you up to, well, the next couple of hours. That's basically what I'm going to say. We're going to be on for the next couple of hours and then the next couple of hours. So if you're listening to this, it's either 6 in the morning, 6:01:30, or it's 10:01:30. That's basically where we're at right now. So I'll be on for the next 8 hours total. We will be done at 2 o'clock today, the Braden Surprenant Show with our guy here, Frank Marchese. And then we'll be off for the holiday weekend, which we're excited for. I love the 4th of July, probably one of my favorite holidays, if not my favorite holiday throughout the calendar year. You got any plans, Frank?
No, it's going to be a very chill, relaxed day in. I'm tired enough as it is right now. So
Isn't it great to be an adult and you can do chill things like that?
Yes, it is. It's actually very nice.
Are you grilling anything tomorrow?
Probably just the standard hot dogs, burgers, probably
Yes.
throw a kielbasa on there too.
I feel like the 4th of July is more a hot dog burger type of day.
Oh yeah, 100%.
You don't need to get too fancy.
Nope.
Although it's not really a big group this year for me. Like I'm staying home too. I'm gonna go to the parade. I'm gonna go to the Scripps Ranch Parade in the morning, tomorrow morning, like we always do. I'll participate in that. Walk down to the beer garden down there sometimes. I do that. At Hoyt Park. It's mostly for the runners and everything like that. And then I'm gonna walk back. See, like one of our family friends live on the parade route.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll just walk the 2 miles or whatever, mile and a half, whatever it is, to get to their house instead of trying to park over in the area, which is miserable.
Yeah.
Or like set up chairs the night before. I'm sure there's already chairs set up right now in Scripps Ranch. I bet you they were set up the last 3 days. So we'll walk over, enjoy the parade. They have a little, brunch deal with like muffins and stuff at our friend's house. And then I don't know what we're grilling yet. Like, I'm going to be at my family's place, and my mom's like, it's a small group if you want to make something else. And I'm like, I don't know. I feel like the standard for the 4th of July is burgers and hot dogs.
Yeah.
And if you want to throw in a hot link or two, sure, go ahead. Or as you mentioned, a kielbasa sausage or something like that. I think that's fine. But that being said, I don't want to get too fancy on the 4th of July. By the way, we haven't even gotten the supplies yet, so like I'm sure Costco today is going to be miserable.
Yeah, have fun with that, bud.
Or Vons, or any of your local establishments. So what's this? So you said burgers, dogs. What's your main barbecue side dish?
I honestly don't even know. It'll probably be fries or something like that. Nothing. It's not going to be anything extravagant.
You make your own fries?
Sometimes you do. Most of the times it's open the bag and
Open the
dump 'em
bag
in.
and throw it in the oven?
Yep.
Oh, nice. Okay. Potato salad's usually pretty good.
Happy
during this
birthday,
time.
Juan. Sorry.
Happy birthday, Juan. He's officially 25 today. Well done, Juan. So that's that. Fun holiday weekend. I love the 4th of July. I think it's great. The fireworks are great. I love the
Bratwurst, another really good one too.
have a couple of brews by the pool. Watch the Padre game. Padres usually start in the middle of the day, which is great. I think what's like a 3-something start tomorrow?
Yeah, it'll be a 3:35, I think.
3:35. And then Sunday is Sunday Night Baseball for the Padres. Also great.
Yep. 3:40.
3:40 start tomorrow. Perfect. That's perfect. That's right in like prime grilling time for tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to that. Should be a fun time. Hopefully all of you guys have a fun and safe 4th of July. And we'll be ready to talk to you again on Monday. And hopefully we're talking about a Padres series win over the Texas Rangers. As we see, by the way, we'll preview this a little bit later in the show. The Rangers and the Padres are the Spider-Man meme. They're the exact same team.
Oh,
This one?
yeah, I got you.
Yeah, that's what they are. The Texas Rangers offense is just as inept right now as the San Diego Padres offense. Their pitching staff probably better than the Padres pitching staff, but still they are really good at throwing the rock. They're really bad at hitting the rock. It's a big reason why they had to bring in Brett Boone bring him in to try to bring some offense to a Rangers lineup that is star-studded, just like the Padres lineup is. Stars aren't performing, and as I've talked to a lot of my friends that are Rangers fans, they go, it's utterly baffling how this offense can't score any runs. And I was like, that's funny. I say the same thing almost every single night. It's utterly baffling that this Padres team does not score any runs. Last night, game 1 of the doubleheader, they looked a lot better. They were patient. You know what? Game 1 of the doubleheader yesterday, that was like April Padres. They weren't chasing stuff. They weren't swinging out of their shoes. They were looking at stuff in the zone, and they got the big hit when they needed it in Manny Machado on the bases clearing double. Game 2, not so much. A lot of arguments with the Padres and the home plate umpire last night in Game 2 of the doubleheader. But Dylan Cease was also not great.
A long day. Everyone else wanted to go home too.
Yeah, that's right. You could tell on some of the at-bats late in the game, it was like, it's time to jump on a cross-country flight back to San Diego.
Delta would hit pretty good right now.
So I watched both those games yesterday, and I'm starting to get used to like this getting up early thing to get to work.
I'm not.
You know what I'm not getting used to? Not knowing what to do at 10 o'clock. Or not, I guess it was 9 o'clock. It's like yesterday I went home. I didn't even make breakfast because by the time I got home, by the time we were done recording stuff and I got home, it was about time for the Padre game to start. So I grabbed some more coffee, I locked in, put the Padres game on, watched the Padres game. And then in between games, my phone storage was kind of high. This is, being an adult. I just started cleaning out my inbox, my messages inbox, my email inbox. I mean, I purged like all of these emails and texts that I haven't deleted. And so I did that. And that was around the time that Brian Kenny happened to flip on my TV. And then I started to listen to what Brian Kenny had to say about some dumb things. And that pissed me off.
Made you regret life?
Yes. But there was one thing that Brian Kenny said, or him and Joel Sherman and the group that was on MLB Network in between games. I flipped it over. It's not like it wasn't on the Padres channel. Something involved the Atlanta Braves that I want to discuss later in the show. I thought it was very interesting, a player that they thought should be traded. And then I flipped it back to the Padres game. And then after the Padres game, it ended in enough time. I went to Cutwater last night, had a date at Cutwater, a hinge date. These hinge dates, man, it's never the best. It's never the best. In about 3 minutes, I was like, this isn't going to work. And like, the thing is, very nice, very sweet girl, very nice, very sweet. But at the same time, like, it's weird, like with us, because we're in this industry.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of have to be with someone that knows what's going on in sports to understand like when you will work and when you will not work and how work kind of works.
Yeah. I mean, for me, like looking for someone recently, as I have been, as some of you loyal listeners will know, that doesn't really bother me. Like if you don't watch sports, that's fine. That's just something. I mean, that's something I can teach you. That's a conversation starter right there. But also, I never really thought of that point of like you kind of have to have a feel for when.
You have to have
Yeah.
a feel. I learned that in class. Isn't that amazing? One of the days of our classes in college at TCU for sports broadcasting was about dating and social life. And they said, you might not make like sports guy finding a date and somebody that works in sports are two totally different things. Like if I was just in the sports, but it wasn't like my life in terms of work, I would agree with you. Like she wouldn't have to know sports.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying she needs to know the back of anybody's baseball card, but she needs to know like what's going on or understand that I might, I don't know, with USD, why am I traveling on this day to go work holidays and weekends?
Mm-hmm.
They might say that now, but then again,
once it happens, that's when it starts to.
Are we going to my parents or yours for the for Thanksgiving? Well, actually,
neither,
I'm working.
as a matter of fact.
Do you not know when sports are on? They're on when people are home, weekends and holidays and nights. And so that was kind of the deal. I thought she was nice. There was a lot of, what's it called? A lot of values that were the same.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I was just like, nah. So after, like, you could do hey, had a good time. You're very nice, but I don't think it working out. And she responded with, well, we gave it a try. Yeah, you know what? It's
that's
great.
Yeah, that's
good luck
it.
To you.
That's the response. That's all you can say.
But that's kind of like the hinge thing. I just immediately thought about Josh Nelson's story. Remember Josh, our comedian that came in?
Yes.
Went on a date. This is how crazy like those online dating things are. He went on a date with a girl twice and didn't even realize it the second time. And neither did she until like halfway through the date.
When they start finishing each other's sentences about their life stories.
Exactly. So from that perspective, and then remember he said he's like, I don't think anybody's on him. I think the same thing. Every time I use the dating apps, I'm just like, I don't know if this is for me. I don't know if I could do this. On a daily basis, but
then that requires going out amongst people, and that's harder for me, at least. That's harder.
It's funny, like I talk on the radio for 4 hours a day. When I go out with my friends, I'm not talking to anybody.
Oh, exactly.
Except for my friends. I don't talk to any. I don't bother anybody. I just kind of observe. I'm not super talkative.
Same exact
just
way.
Kind of stay like, what's going on over here? Kind of people watch a little bit. People think that I'm like this, super popular person at the bar and everything. I'm like, it's not me, dude. Like, I don't need to draw any more attention to myself than I already have. Trust me. But you're right. Like, if it wasn't for the dating apps, then who knows at this point. But it was fine. She was nice with the Cutwater. Had a couple of drinks at Cutwater. That seems to be. I got it. You got to ease into it.
Yeah.
My buddy Sam, dude, he goes way too hard in the paint first night.
Oh no.
We talked about this before on this not in this time slot, but the 10 a.m. time slot. Mm-hmm. Like I told him I was going on this date. He's like, "Oh, you doing that?" I'm like, I don't even know anything about this girl. I'm not gonna like take her to like a nice restaurant and all this other stuff.
You can't
get drinks first.
Exactly. The first date is getting to know the person. Like you're not going to go to a movie or you're not going to go to some high end place because you're not going to.
I'm not going to say you got to earn that, but I mean, you got to give me a reason to take you out there. Like I gotta, otherwise it's weird. Yeah, especially don't do a movie unless you're definitely in a relationship because like how are you supposed to get to know the person during the movie?
Yeah.
So that was my night last night. It wasn't too bad. I enjoyed the Cutwater. Didn't cost too much. Paid for the bill as I should, and that was that.
There's a comment here in the chat that I'm reading over. Kevin. Yeah, in the chat. Worked in sports for 15 years, and at winter meetings, there's a support group for those who feel the industry inhabits their chance at having a normal dating/marriage life, which...
That's very interesting.
Yeah, it's also true.
Yeah, well...
If you're someone, especially like a broadcaster who's traveling all the time, that's... Yeah, I totally believe it.
There's a couple things I think scared her. One was... people might recognizing my voice places. That was one. The other one was like today I had nothing to do, but like I told her what my usual day is as soon as like August rolls around. Yep. And like you could see her face is like, what? I'm sorry, you do what all day? I'm like, what do you want me to do? Sit in my house and like stare at the wall? I got to keep myself busy here. Keep myself busy. There's a traveling partner dating app, says SP Chula Vista. You know what? I've seen enough different dating apps out there. I'm sure. You know what? I'm surprised there hasn't made like a sports broadcaster only dating app. I mean, that
Exactly,
might
yeah.
exist. That might exist. Speaking of travelers,
That's an industry we could start to break into right there.
there you go.
Two guys that have absolutely no knowledge of anything going on.
We'll have a
start this app.
little side hustle. Speaking of travelers, I'm sure a lot of you might be getting a jump on traveling for the 4th of July holiday, especially with it being on a Friday. Let's update you on traffic.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Valvoline Instant Oil Change, your 15-minute drive-through oil change. Good morning. Busy start in the North County. Collision on or near the Deer Springs Road off-ramp, southbound 15. Further south on the 15, just before Rancho Bernardo Road, a collision has been cleared out of the HOV lane. And northbound 15 before Carroll Canyon, two-vehicle accident in the center divide. We also have reports of a mattress in one of the slow lanes, southbound 5, right before Cassidy Strait. San Diego summers mean beach days, road trips, ball games. Make sure your ride's ready with Valvoline Instant Oil Change. Drive in, stay in your car, and be done in about 15 minutes. No appointment needed. For coupons, visit SoCalOilChange.com. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
All right, thank you, Kelly. A little traffic update for you.
She didn't seem too entertained with the mattress. I know, like, filling in for Ben & Woods, she really loves when people drop ladders on the freeway.
I remember one time when I was in high school, I was listening to the other sports station that used to exist, and Kelly was doing the updates, and she went she went crazy on something that was dropped in the middle of the street. I think it was a ladder on the freeway or something like that, and she kept mentioning it every traffic update.
Yep.
She had a different side comment for every one of them. It was so funny. It was.
She is great with those.
She's great. You got to make it somewhat entertaining, especially if it's not serious problems.
Yeah.
All right. Let's lock in on the Padres here, huh?
I agree.
What we saw yesterday. Do you have the clip? I'm gonna of Mike Schill talking about how they competed their tails off yesterday.
No, I don't. I have one that sparked a rant from me about Dylan Cease. I do not have the "we competed our tails off" one though.
I'm sure that's mixed into one of the ones that you have posted on here that we'll get to eventually. So yesterday, the Padres split the doubleheader. Game 1, Nick Pivetta was great. 6 innings, only 1 earned run, gave up 7 hits, had the 1 bad pitch to Schwarber, 90 pitches, 65 strikes, didn't walk anybody. Machado was 1 for 4 with a double. The Padres only mustered a couple of hits, but were able to put up 6 runs. Suarez, again, a little shaky in the 9th inning. As we talked about in our first half letter grades, a guy like Robert Suarez should be doing a lot better than he is. And that thing almost all of a sudden the tying run came to the plate. I couldn't believe that they overturned the tag. And I saw every angle, including the last angle, and even the back of his glove with the ball hand looked like it clipped the cleat enough where it's it wasn't indisputable evidence or whatever like that. But anyway, they overturned a call that was probably a great throw and tag by Jackson Merrill and Manny Machado that ended up leading the game on a little bit more, and then a punch out to Kyle Schwarber ended the ball game in Game 1. Padres, I thought, did a pretty good job in staying patient at the plate. I think you saw them like they did in April, pass the baton and take the walks. Nick Abel was unable to throw strikes yesterday, as I tweeted that out. Mick Abel. He's now 2-2 with the loss. That was a walk fest in that inning. I mean, how many walks did he have? 5 in that inning?
I think so. I'm not sure. How many walks did he have in the game, period?
Well, the Phillies, the bullpen started walking guys too.
Yeah.
But you took advantage of the walks. You got the big hit out of Manny, gave you a nice little lead, added on late, which you ended up needing. And you had a 6-4 win over the Phillies in Game 1. I thought overall that was one of the better games the Padres had played.
Drew 9 walks in Game 1.
9 walks. 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 9 walks.
9 total.
So then you go to game 2. And I'm going to be honest with you. We gave our letter grades for the first half. Dylan Cease has been a major disappointment in a Padres uniform. And that's coming from a guy, by the way, that's a guy that's thrown a no-hitter in a Padres uniform. Last year he threw a no-hitter in a Padres uniform. He is so disappointing watching him pitch. It's just disappointing. He needs to be way better. I mean, he was brought in to be an ace-type guy. He's like a 4th or 5th starter in terms of stats. And again, I keep trying to stay patient with watching Dylan Cease, and you thought a couple of times this season he was going to turn it around because he has shown just great stuff. I mean, against the Dodgers at home, he looked like he was back on track. And 2 weeks before that, he told Eno Saris that he's like right there, ready to go. How many more days do you have to wait for Dylan Cease to be anything close to what he was in Chicago? I mean, he is just not performing well. It's like having like I said, a 4th or 5th starter out there. And your 4 and 5 are giving you a better chance at winning than Dylan Cease is. I mean, he put you in a hole yesterday. On the road. Offense, obviously, and the guys were, tired after the road trip. Looked like they're ready to go. But in game 2, and here's the thing, like with doubleheaders, if you can sweep a doubleheader, you had a really, really good day. I mean, splitting doubleheaders is more commonplace in Major League Baseball. It's very difficult to sweep anybody in a doubleheader. But the problem was, not only did Dylan Cease not pitch very well, Christopher Sanchez mowed the Padres down. When the Padres knocked Mick Abel out of the game in game 1 as early as they did, I thought for certain this is the best news you could possibly have in a doubleheader. Get their bullpen going early. And then Sanchez comes in, ground ball pitcher, and is efficient and effective. Got a lot of ground balls, looked almost unhittable for most of the game. He goes out there and shoves and saves the bullpen for the Phillies, but was able to cruise because the Padres unable to get some runs, unable to really put any pressure on Sanchez, but also at the same time, Cease wasn't able to throw up too many zeros. And then it gets to like what Mike Schilt had to say, and we're getting back to like Mike Schilt last year when they're like 500 and the same old. And look, I understand. And the thing I like about Mike Schilt is the guys play hard for him, and he's got a track record of winning, so I can't complain about it too much. I was complaining about it last year, and they turned it around in the second half, but we're starting to get closer and closer to that 500 mark, and we're starting to get closer and closer to watching the Padres on the field not look very good and then be told that they're playing very well. I mean, last night in the second press conference that Mike Schilt had, it was, our guys competed their tails off last night. I was watching the game. The last 3 innings, the at-bats were not very good. That was not guys competing their tails off. Maybe some of the guys that are role players who finally got an opportunity to get an at-bat were competing their tails off. But I would, if that is the Padres competing their tails off, I'm sorry. That's not acceptable level of effort. It's not. And I know it's the second day of a doubleheader, and I understand it's a road trip to the East Coast. They got to get on a plane after the game. But there have been some games where I would say the Padres competed their tails off. Last night, game 2, that was not one of those games. That was almost a boring game where they got the first run, and then Cease gave it up, and then that was it for the rest. That was all she wrote for the rest of the game. I don't want to go back down this rabbit hole or down this path of being, in reality, gaslit by Mike Schilt about what we watched and what he saw. And you know what? I understand the situation. We know that Mike Schilt is always going to have his players back. And I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. But last night, to say, like, oh, our guys competed their tails off, it's like, come on, man. Like, read the room. Read the room. Said the same thing about Dylan Cease. In fact, it was so like kind of crazy. We actually have both of those clips at 7:00 about Mike Schilt in Game 1 talking about Nick Pavetta's start, and Mike Schilt in Game 2 talking about Dylan Cease's start. We'll get to that at 7. You got Frank in the New York Mets angry Frank mode last night after some of those comments.
I told you yesterday. I said after losses, there is a complete and total embargo on Mike Schilt presser audio because I couldn't take it anymore last night. I could not take it. It was so absurd. Now, I understand he's not going to say, "Oh, this guy sucks."
Yeah, we were terrible tonight.
That's not the answer I'm expecting, but you at least have to tell me something that I actually saw. It's so frustrating to go back and look at these, and he's picking out little minutia that no fan watching the game would see and pick out and make it seem like it is the best thing for this pitcher.
Or the best thing for this hitter, or the best thing for the, he's really been good on the base pass.
He said after Dylan Cease's, he said at the end of the clip, for Dylan Cease's clip, that was Dylan Cease last night.
What?
That's not good. That's not a good thing. If that was Dylan Cease last night, no, that's not a good thing.
Hey, people say, like, you got to, maybe we should trade Dylan Cease. To who? If that's Dylan Cease, is that what they want? Nobody's going to want him.
The Mets are in dire need of starting pitching. I don't want him.
Oh, my God. I do agree. Like, it's one thing to keep things positive. I think that's fine. Defending your guys, I think, is fine. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt on that. But there's still things like that went wrong that he could be like, we need to be better at this.
100%.
And I think you could say that without the players getting upset at you or feel like they're getting thrown under the bus. But last night, I mean, like, to say that they competed their tails off in the Game 2, I didn't see it. I didn't really see it. Game 1, yeah, I would say so. They played well in Game 1. I thought they played well in Game 1. I thought they competed in Game 1. I thought Game 1 was they competed their tails off. Game 2, I would disagree with that. We'll hear more from Mike Schilt later on in the show. When we come back, we will also dive into just kind of the offensive approach at the game, what made Sanchez tough, and, what kind of positivity we can hear from Mike Schilt after Game 2 of yesterday's doubleheader. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. We're just getting started on this Thursday morning leading into a 4th of July holiday. Braden Surprenant Show, filling in for Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97 through the Fan. .35 on a Thursday morning. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. We're the Braden Surprenant Show, and we're filling in for Ben and Woods for the final time this week. Next week, we'll be back to our local and regular time of 10 to 2. So, if this is new to you, if our show is new to you, we're on every single day from 10 in the morning to 2 in the afternoon, weekdays, I should say, on 97 through the fan. You could follow us on social media at B_SURP is my social media handle. You can follow the show at B_SURP show. Same thing as my Twitter handle, but just add show to the end. And you can follow Frank at FMarks324 on social media as well. Be sure to, if you haven't done so already, give us a like on the YouTube page. We really appreciate that. Like this video. You can also subscribe to us by hitting the subscribe button to 97 through the fan. Helps us out a lot. I know not all of you subscribe because yesterday, based on our numbers that we got, 45% of you did not subscribe. It does not cost you anything. It's free. Just hit the subscribe button.
Why you got to call out the people like that? Be nice to the people.
I'm putting the pressure on.
We get yelled at by the people all the time that we don't like the people. But
I know.
We love the people.
We do. We love the people even more when they hit subscribe.
Okay, fair enough.
Fair. You can also subscribe to my YouTube page, which also broadcasts this show each and every day at B_SURP on YouTube, at BSURP. You'd find it. It's easy. We got a lot of people that are on there as well that have their own little private chat, basically, on there. And they enjoy that very much. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We're going to dive into some of the things that Mike Schilt said yesterday about the game, but do want to get to your phone calls. Early in the morning, we got Steve in Carlsbad. Steve, what's going on, man?
Hey, Braden. Well, I'm waiting in line to go surfing at San Onofre. The line was like about a mile long. I'm not quite in, so I thought I'd call.
Yeah.
I got a big question.
I got a big answer.
Okay, great. Why is Mud doing the radio a lot now? What's going on there? Are they trying to, matriculate Tony and Junior in there, or, it's kind of, I love Tony, but it just doesn't seem the same.
Well, I've gotten asked this question a lot. The thing is all the broadcasters of the Padres work for the Padres, and they shuffle them however they want. It's just like any other shift at any other place. It's the same thing. I'm seeing there's no conspiracies about this and that, and people are freaking out. Maybe Mark wants to do more radio. Maybe Tony wants to do more TV. Maybe they want to mix and match more. I don't know. I don't work for the Padres. I can't tell you that answer. But what I can tell you is there's no diabolical reason for why they're moving the people on air on TV and radio. There's no conspiracy about it. So it's all they get the calendar out, and there's guys, and they put in their days off that they want for vacation, and they have to mix and match when it comes to other responsibilities and stuff like that. It's like any other job. It's like any other workforce. They're filling out the timesheet. All right, we need guys here to do TV. We need guys here to do radio. We need to mix and match here, sideline, all that stuff. It's just there's nothing really to it. I've seen that on social media a lot. They all do such a great job on both things. I think a lot of people don't like too much change, but there's nothing to it. I had people text me, I don't know if you can speak on this or not, but why is Mud doing radio? I'm like, I don't know. I said They mix and match these guys all the time. You're just like noticing it now. I mean, in the winter, in the fall, like sometimes with football and everything, sometimes they got to move it around again for some broadcasters that do other sports. So nothing more to it than that. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Let's talk about game 2 yesterday. We don't need to spend too much time on game 1. I think the Padres look good in game 1. Patient approach at the plate. They got the big hit when they needed to. Again, Manny, patient at the plate. Had a big lead. And then took care of business late in the game. Nothing really to say about game 1. Plus the fact that Nick Pivetta was really good. Let's talk about game 2 for a second. Actually, no. Let's talk about that offensive approach before we get to that. Here's what Mike Schultz said about their offensive approach in game 1, which was really good.
We do that, this team's going to be virtually unstoppable. It really is. We were very stingy. We're going to give in anything that wasn't on the plate. And, amazing job. And then when you get on the plate, you talk about slug, you're going to get more slug when you're on the plate more consistently. And just really, really good at bats. Top of the lineup, set the tone. They were fantastic. Toddy Jackson's at bats were tremendous. Going the other way, taking his walks, working his walks. Manny with a big swing to clear him. That was obviously great. And I thought Bogey's at bats were good as well. So, we are stingy like that. There's no absolutes in this game. But if you do that with the talent we have in the zone, then we're going to continue to be a very dangerous team.
That's a fact. I don't know if they'll be virtually unstoppable. I don't want to get that far down the road. That's the Mike Schultz flair to that. But yeah, if they could do exactly what they were doing in April and not chasing out of the zone and passing the baton and the catching position, finding ways to get on base, you're going to have offensive production like the Padres have had earlier in the season and in game 1 of the doubleheader yesterday. Game 2, on the other hand, a little bit less production. What made Sanchez so tough?
He's in the zone with late life. But that's what alluding to the bat quality. Bat quality was good. If we're going to stay in the zone and we're not going to chase guys around, when guys throw 96 with heavy sink, that's going to be a tougher battle. And the guys did. They battled their tails off. But that's the recipe to, get as many good pitches as we can get in the zone and take good swings at it. We do that, we're going to be in really, really, really good shape.
Really, 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 really good shape, he says. Well, the Padres haven't really been able to hit a left-hander in a long time now. They do need a right-handed bat. They need to add some pieces here at the trade deadline, which, again, I agree with. I just don't think you could do it until at least after the All-Star break. If the Padres do make moves before the All-Star break, I would be shocked. If they make a move before the deadline, like a week or two before the deadline, I'd also be shocked. I think this thing's going to come down to the deadline. As it said in the chat, battled their tails off. I don't know what game they were watching in game 2. I don't know. I did not see that in game 2 of the doubleheader yesterday. But I will tell you this. What did we say at the beginning of the week, Frank, about Philly? If you take one game in Philly, pop some champagne, because the Padres never do well in Philly. They salvaged the series in Philly. It would have been nice to win game 2 to at least have a 500 road trip. It would have been nice. I'm actually more disappointed in the Padres' performance still over the weekend against Cincinnati than I am against Philadelphia. Game 1 in Philly was not great. Game 2 in Philly yesterday was good. And then yesterday, they had opportunities, but yeah, I was surprised it wasn't like a tip your cap day in the press conference yesterday. It was more of a, we battled our tails off. So, a lot of singles, not a lot of slug. He is right, though. Mike Schultz did say something in that press conference from game 1 that's 100% true. And we will get to that after we give you a look at traffic.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is brought to you by the Salute to Heroes Golf Tournament, July 28th at Loma Santa Fe Country Club. Definitely starting to get a little busier on our roads. Looks like someone may have had a blowout north 805 near the 8 disabled vehicle over the right shoulder and some tire tread in lanes. Several things in the North County. One is a crash on or near the Deer Springs Road off-ramp. Southbound 15 up ahead, a crash cleared near Rancho Bernardo Road. Northbound 15 before Carroll Canyon, 2-vehicle accident in the center divide. And getting reports of a mattress in one of the right lanes on South 5 Coastline just before Cassidy Street. The Salute to Heroes Golf Tournament is back July 28th at Loma Santa Fe Country Club. Join sport legends and celebrities and tee up to support local heroes. Register now at SanDiegoSocialLeagues.org. That's SanDiegoSocialLeagues.org. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Wood, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
There are times where like a team will lose and the manager will say they battled their tails off, and I would agree with that. And there are times where I will not agree with that. I will not agree with the fact that they battled their tails off yesterday in game 2. They did not. I did not see that out of them. Game 1 press conference. This is the one where he mentioned on their offensive approach, slug, when you're getting more of your bat in the zone. That's perfect. That's 100% true. A big reason why the slug has dropped as well for the San Diego Padres, aside from, the fact that they haven't been hitting well. At the beginning of the season, they actually had high slug. They were a top 10 slugging team in Major League Baseball at the beginning of the season. Haven't done it the last 2 months. What was the difference? They weren't chasing pitches. They weren't swinging out of their shoes. They weren't lunging at stuff outside and in the dirt. They weren't, trying to make too much happen. They were letting the game come to them, and they were spitting on balls outside, and they were spitting on balls in the dirt, and they were swinging at good pitches, and it was resulting in good results. It's amazing what happens when you do those things. Padres did that in game 1. Take the walks. Take the walks. The problem with the Padres a lot of times, and right now, it's a little bit of, and I was saying it a couple of weeks ago, and I can't really say it anymore because you can't be pressing for that long, but it's just the bottom half of the order being such a black hole that the top half feels like they got to do a lot more, and so they're just trying to go out there and make stuff happen. It's not going to be great when it comes to results when you're trying to force it. And I think the last month, the Padres have been trying to force it. I think the same thing could be said about Fernando Tatis. In order to get Fernando out, you have to pump inside, high and inside. You have to do that. That was talked about. We talked about that on the show even before the Dodgers hit him a couple of times. Up and in. That's how you make a guy like Fernando who swings the way he does and goes down on the ball. That's how you make him uncomfortable. And guess what? Teams are executing against Fernando and making him feel uncomfortable. He's not comfortable in the box because he's getting balls thrown close to his chest and his head a lot. And you know what? I mean, as much as people want to complain about that, it's part of the game. You get upset when he gets hit more than one time in a series by the same team. That's when you get upset. Other than that, he's got to find a way to overcome getting piped inside. He has to be able to do that. And you could tell it's tough for him. But that's tough for any batter. If you got fastballs coming by your noggin all the time and then dipping away low and away, that's hard to deal with. But that's the adjustment that Fernando's going to have to make at the box. And guess what? He actually hit pretty well yesterday. He's starting to come out of it a little bit. So hopefully he can put that together for this final homestand of the first half. Padres got the Rangers, they got the Diamondbacks, they got the Phillies again before they head to the All-Star break, in which Manny Machado will be representing the National League at third base, representing the Padres as a starting third baseman. Congratulations to all the Padres fans who have outdid the Dodgers fans in voting, proving Mark Grant correct that, yes, he is, in fact, a way better third baseman than Max Muncy. It's not even a question. I can't believe Max Muncy was a finals being all-star. He went on a 2-week tear after being arguably one of the worst third basemen in Major League Baseball at the beginning of the season. So, overall for the Padres on the road trip, not a success. Losing 2 out of 3 to Cincinnati really set the tone for that. It would have been nice to salvage it in Philadelphia, but you knew that Philadelphia was going to be a problem. I'm just glad that they got one win out of it. And now you get ready for the Texas Rangers, who are the San Diego Padres of the American League right now. Their offense is not great. Their offense has stars, haven't been able to get the stars to play. Their pitching staff's been good. So it's going to be a battle, or it is. It's going to be a battle between the Padres and the Rangers for the next 3 days. That the Padres are going to have to overcome the American League that they, for some reason, can't beat. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Yeah, I know Max Muncy got hurt pretty bad last night. In a game in which Clayton Kershaw got his 3,000th strikeout as they took on the Chicago White Sox. Somebody asked, does any other division team have an upcoming road trip like the Padres had? Eventually, when they have to go to the East Coast. So, not much more you could say on yesterday's game too much, aside from like the pitchers that we'll get into at 7 o'clock. I did see, and I do want to talk about this later, so maybe I'll tease it now, what Joel Sherman had to say about the Atlanta Braves. And he's arguing that the Atlanta Braves should consider trading Ronald Acuna Jr. at the trade deadline. He's got 4 years of control. 2 more years left, and then 2 years of a club option. That's $17 million a year, which is, for a guy like Ronald Acuna Jr., very affordable. Very affordable. Would you be willing to trade an Ethan Salas or a Leo DeVries for 4 years of Ronald Acuna Jr.? I think that's very interesting. But at the same time, for Atlanta, if you're the Atlanta Braves, are you thinking you're not going to compete for the next 4 seasons? Like, I understand, like, this season. Schwellenbach's out. Strider hasn't been the same. I mean, they've had the injuries. They haven't seemed to get out of their way when it comes to injuries. They're still well under 500. They usually have these kind of late runs in the season. But like Atlanta thinks they could probably still win in the next 3 years. Giving up 4 years of Ronald Acuna Jr., there's not a single team out there that's not picking up his club options at $17 million.
Did you hear that?
What?
I think I just heard our boss Adam Klug having a breakdown over
aneurysm.
the thought of that.
You'd probably like it as a Mets fan, get Acuna out of the division.
Oh yeah, I'm not complaining.
Let me ask you, Frank, why would the Braves do that? Not the trade. Not like with the Padres, but why would the Braves? Give me a good reason why the Braves should trade Ronald Acuna Jr.
Give me a minute. I'm still thinking. Hold on.
Give me a reason that doesn't benefit the New York Mets of why Ronald Acuna Jr. should be traded from the Atlanta Braves. One good reason.
Yeah, I got nothing. There's no reason for them to trade him.
I don't know why you would do that. How many times have we had to hear MLB Network talk about trading Ronald Acuna Jr.? They want him out of there so bad. I don't get it.
MLB Network just wants to trade every big star somewhere. That's it.
Not on the Yankees or the Dodgers.
Exactly.
Maybe the Red Sox. I'd take Acuna. We're going to play some of that audio for you. We'll discuss it later on in the show. And on Twitter, when they have the video clip of Joel Sherman saying this, the first comment is a picture of AJ Preller on the phone. I love it. I love it. Hour number 2 coming up next. Frank Marchese, I'm Braden Surprenant. Braden Surprenant Show rolls on. San Diego's #1 sports station, 97 through the Fan. 7 o'clock in the morning on a Thursday lead into a holiday weekend. It's also 11 o'clock for some. Ha! Jokes.
See, this is why we said we got to do this show word for word for the second 4 hours here.
Correct.
We got 7 hours left today, Braden.
One done. That was fast. Easy. Anyway, do you want to get back to your phone calls? 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. I don't want to tee off on Mike Schilt today for the second game press conference is just didn't sit well. Didn't sit well. I'm looking at the Braves, by the way, just to go back to what we were talking about before we went to break, about the Atlanta Braves. Like, I'm looking at the Atlanta Braves payroll on Fangraphs. Why would they trade any of these guys?
There's no reason to.
There's no reason to. They're all under contract for a while. The only ones that aren't are Osuna and Iglesias. And Marcel's hurt right now, so he's not even, worth anything.
It's right, sell Iglesias, right?
Yes, Raisel Iglesias. No, Jose's on the pods.
No, I knew that.
There's a lot of Iglesias.
Goober.
Or Rafael Montero. I mean, that's what you're looking at. Unless they don't want to pick up a club option on Chris Sale. He's banged up too. He's not really worth trade value. Pierce Johnson. And then Ozzie Albies starts his club options next year and the year after. His club options are $7 million. But you talk to any Atlanta Braves fans, specifically our boss, he'll tell you Ozzie Albies has not been great. He might be worth the $7 million. He hasn't been great. Maybe signing those long-term contracts work out for some of these players. Because when Ozzie Albies signed, remember everybody was like, I can't believe how much money left on the table. Well, apparently he didn't. Because he hasn't played that well. But anyway, I don't know why the Braves would trade any of those guys. I do want to hear Joel Sherman's case for why the Braves trade Acuna. We'll talk about that later on the show. Let's talk about yesterday's game in a second. I do want to get to your phone calls. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Let's get to Luis in San Diego. Luis, what's going on, man?
Hey, guys, can you hear me?
I got you, dude.
Hey, man, first of all, I think you made me a listener, man. You're great. I never listened after 10. Bro, you're rocking it. Keep it up, man. Keep it up. It's awesome.
Thank you, Luis. Appreciate it, bud.
Second, is there any other NL West team that's going to go through the type of road trip that we've gone through? Or have they gone through that type of road trip?
I'd have to go look at their schedules in terms of, Luis, I appreciate the phone call. In terms of overall, they will all go through an East Coast road trip. They just physically have to. They got to play all the teams in Major League Baseball, especially on the National League side. They got to go through all the teams in the National League East. When they do the full East Coast road trip, different times of the year, and sometimes they do mix it up. I mean, the Padres East Coast road trip, the one that they were just on is not even their longest one. That was a quick 6 games. Their longest one's during Comic-Con. It's the Comic-Con road trip. As we've talked about before in the show, the scheduling, the nuances of scheduling professional sports and venues and in cities where teams will elect to, we'll take these days off in order to get these days at home and everything like that. In San Antonio, the San Antonio Spurs have a rodeo road trip where the rodeo takes over their arena for almost a month. Looking at, I'm sure people are more interested in, the Dodgers schedule, I guess, at this point in time, because that's who we think we're competing with, even though the Padres are now 8.5 games out of first place. You should probably focus on the wild card a little bit more. East Coast road trip wise, Dodgers at the end of July have to go to Boston and Cincinnati and Tampa, all on the same road trip. So that's their big East Coast road trip. They will also have to go to Pittsburgh and Baltimore in September, would be their other kind of longer one left. Earlier this year, I don't know if they've gone anywhere else that's been very difficult to get to. I don't know, maybe Japan. That's kind of a long place to travel for a road trip. Atlanta, they did Atlanta, Miami already, and Arizona. So, yeah, most of the teams eventually will be on these road trips. I don't think I need to say anything more about that, Frank. But, yes, they will. The cool part is about the Padres schedule. September's nice. But unfortunately, August sucks for the Padres compared to how nice September. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Now I'm down a rabbit hole. The San Francisco Giants go to Toronto and Atlanta after the All-Star break. That's kind of counterproductive for any San Francisco Giant in an All-Star game. They're going to be in Atlanta. They're going to fly to Toronto, and they're flying back to Atlanta. Unfortunate. And then they got to go to New York and Pittsburgh, the Giants do. So, yeah, there's still multiple East Coast trips that all of the teams in the division do have to accomplish to get through. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Let's talk about last night again. The two starting pitchers with different results. One was very good. One was not so great. Here's what Mike Shildt said about the good start yesterday from Nick Pivetta.
Control the counts, just a matter of getting on, boom, 0-1, winning the 1-1, which he's really doing a nice job of. And then he's got really good stuff. Fastball had some really good life today. Secondary pitches are good. He's, like I said, both sides of the plate, elevating the ball when he needed to. I thought he was tremendous with him and Diaz.
Obviously, we're only kind of halfway through the season, but for him to have had this season and given you guys what he's given you thus far, what do you just kind of make of, in general, how important he's been to this group?
He's been huge. I mean, listen, I give a lot of credit to, all the starters. We've had some, we've been hit a little bit there. We've had some guys really step up, and Nick's been the guy that stepped up, and we needed it. A veteran guy that's come in that, has real time in this league, that has a pedigree, been on some good teams, and he's fit right in. He's taken the challenge to, and we don't want to heap anything more on than needs to, but he's taken the rightful challenge to be an anchor for our starting pitching. And as we all know, that starting pitching anchor spots are huge.
Let's hear what Mike Shildt had to say about Dylan Cease now.
I thought Dylan was crisp. I thought his stuff was good. Outside of swing by Kepler and Marsh, pretty much the difference. But he scratched another one on him too. But I thought his stuff was really crisp. It was one of those games where like early on, because their guy was good too, Sanchez, and we got that run, scratched it out, and I was like, all right, here we go. This could be like a 1-0, 2-1 kind of our favorite ball game. But he put a couple swings on. We got his 6 innings, but I thought overall his stuff was crisp around the plate where we wanted it to go.
For Dylan to have been crisp and the results kind of haven't been there for him, what's it going to take for him to kind of make that translate?
If he throws like he does tonight, it's gonna translate. I mean, a couple pitches they didn't miss, but he was good tonight. He had Dylan Cease kind of stuff tonight.
What? He was good tonight? What? At what point in the game last night did anybody think that Dylan Cease was good last night? Dylan Cease was not good last night.
Walked on and off the mound pretty good. I'll give him that.
Dylan Cease is 3-8 with a 4.62 ERA. He's not been good at all. Now, as we talked about before, when we gave our grades for the first half, he's held to a higher standard because he is a higher standard player than most of the rotation. 3-8 with a 4.62 ERA. I mean, people would be upset if Randy Vasquez had those numbers. I would understand it a lot more. I'd be like, well, at least he's getting us innings. 3-8 with a 4.62 ERA, a 0.5 B WAR. I mean, that's awful. That's not worth the amount of money you got to pay this guy to be on the team. That's not worth giving this guy $30 million in the offseason. Some team will, by the way. Some team will give him $30 to $35 million a year. I mean, what a bad year to pick. What a bad time for Dylan Cease to not be great. A contract year. Here's the other thing, too. If we're talking about Dylan Cease, and yesterday we talked about Martín Maldonado and Elias Diaz, right? The catching situation. Maldonado catches Cease all the time. So he's not helping. He's not hitting at the plate. He's not great defensively. He's not throwing anybody out. And he's not really making Dylan Cease any better. I mean, at this point, now especially to go back to yesterday's conversation about Luis Camposano, you want to have an opportunity to have him play. Have him catch Dylan Cease. It's not like Maldonado's helping him out at all. He was brought in to be an ace-type pitcher. I don't know what he's watching. Unless his metrics that they're looking at that the Padres like on their scouting sheets said he looked really good last night and it just didn't work out for him. I'm not buying that was Dylan Cease. He was sharp. What are we talking about here? Did I watch a different game than everybody else?
No.
I mean, what about last night was sharp? I don't understand. I get it, dude. I get you're trying to protect your players. That's fine. I totally understand that. But there's ways to do that where you don't tell us that things you're painting sunshine and rainbows like everything is fine. It's not fine. You had an opportunity to potentially take 2 games in Philly. And Cease didn't get the job done. 0.5 B-WAR with a 3-8 record and a 4.62 ERA. That's not going to get the job done ever. And here's the thing. People are like, well, we should trade Cease. No, to who? What do you think you're going to get out of a guy in a rental year that's not performing well? It's all the same people that, like, here's the thing. It's the same thing as the White Sox trading Luis Robert Jr. It's the same thing. You're trading him off his track record, not what he's doing this season. So if you're the type of person that doesn't want Luis Robert Jr. because you're like, okay, well, he's not playing very well. He's got a 1-year deal, and that's basically it. I don't want to say, like, people want Dylan Cease. What is his trade value? The fact that he's a pitcher? He's going to have slightly better trade value than Luis Robert Jr. because he's a pitcher. But his ERA is close to 5. What do you think you're going to get out of Dylan Cease on a rental for a couple of months in a year that he has not been very good? You're taking a major risk if you are any other contending team that might need starting pitching. Unless you're going to trade a MLB-ready player in the outfield that for you is not really working out. You're like, well, you know what? Maybe he can find something in San Diego and we'll take Dylan Cease off their hands. It's not going to work. There's not going to be a ton of teams clamoring for his services. If you don't want him on the team anymore and you're a contending team and you need pitching, why would anybody else want him? What world is that? Like, what do you think you're going to get for him? At this point, he's not even worth trading to anybody. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. Joey in North Park on the Braden Surprenant Show. What's going on, Joey?
Hey, what's up, buddy? This is Joey. You know our mutual friend, Sam.
Yes.
I asked him a couple of questions about 2 things that I'm really concerned about. I just want to get your opinion on. Number one, the Padres are second to last in barrel rate. And I think the reason why that's important is because there's a pretty high correlation between how many barrels a team is getting and how much their offense is producing. You look at the top of that list, you'll see like the Dodgers, you'll see the Tigers, you'll see the Mets, Cubs, all really the elite offenses in the MLB. So barrel rate is a concern for me. I'm wondering how much of a concern that is for you. And then second of all, the second thing I brought up with our buddy Sam is we have a 34% win percentage against teams that are 500 or better in the MLB right now. How much of a concern is that for you? Because for me, that seems like something that's a pretty big deal.
Number one is more of a concern because you got to be able to barrel up balls if you want to have slug. No slug. If you're not barreling up balls, you're probably not going to get slug. So you definitely have to improve on squaring the baseball up at the plate. So that is concerning. That's obviously something that needs to be addressed. And I think that goes a lot to swinging at pitches out of the zone compared to the beginning of the year when they were not, and they were actually swinging at strikes. Now, the second point that you brought up in terms of record against teams above 500, that stat fluctuates so much that I don't even really care about it. Let's look at the standings. The Los Angeles Angels are 2 wins away from being above 500. That's going to give the Padres 2 more wins against teams above 500. Is that do we consider the Angels one of the better teams in Major League Baseball? Probably not. The Atlanta Braves are one of those teams that at the beginning of the season, you would think would be a team above 500. If they go on an Atlanta Braves roll, you're going to flip 6 more wins into your column. It's not like that record is based on teams that were above 500 when you played them. It's based on what they are now. It's not the Padres' fault that the Braves went into the complete dumps and stink. Also not the Padres' fault that maybe the Detroit Tigers are 54-33 and you went 1-2 against them, which, by the way, you were missing like half of your core players. So in terms of like record against teams that are above 500, I don't think it's as important as people want to make it out to be. And sure, good teams are going to have good records against teams above 500 because good teams have good records. They beat teams. That's why they have good records. So it doesn't matter to me. That's a stat that I don't really care about. And again, like you look at some of the teams that are above 500, if the Reds go on a losing streak this week because they're 45-42, all of a sudden that's 2 losses out of the equation. Arizona's 500 now. So those 2 losses you had to Arizona are not factored into that anymore. So that's why I don't really care about that particular stat. You could poke some holes in it. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Continuing our Padres discussion when we come back. San Diego's number 1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. This hour 97 to the fans brought to you by Amazon. Okay, I've got some good news and I've got some great news. The good news is that Prime Day is almost here. The great news, this year you'll have 4 days to find deals on all of your favorite things. Shop Prime Day July 8th through the 11th. Padres Wrap Up is brought to you by the all-new Jamul Casino Resort, the Players Place. We wrapped that up kind of in the last segment when talking about Dylan Cease. I don't know what game Mike Schilt was watching, but I don't know if it was the same game that we were watching because he said he was sharp last night. I don't necessarily agree with that. I hope Dylan Cease can get to a point where he is sharp because the Padres could sure use a Dylan Cease that doesn't have a 0.5 B-WAR or a 4.62 ERA or an 89 ERA plus. I mean, he's having arguably the same year that he had in 2023, his last year in Chicago.
His ERA is this is the highest his ERA has been since his rookie year, and he's on pace to walk more people than he ever has in his career.
Yes. Remember when the Padres traded for Dylan Cease? Everybody was worried about 2023 because he went 7-9 with a 2.2 B-WAR after a 2022 where he was electric and he had a 4.58 ERA, 79 walks, which was the most he has ever had in his career. And you're like, well, maybe that was just the outlier, the fluke year. And then last year it was good. Wasn't necessarily Dylan Cease great, but it was a good year. It's probably the second best year that he has had, actually, in terms of ERA and stuff. And now you're closer to 2023.
I think Bachman Turner Overdrive had a song named after that.
It's starting to turn a little bit into a trend.
Dylan Cease's 2023. You ain't seen nothing yet.
2025. I mean, the good news, Padres fans, is you don't have to really worry about making a decision on Dylan Cease at the end of the year. You just let him walk.
Remember when that was the big topic? Who would you rather keep, Michael King or Dylan Cease?
I think we all said Michael King.
That was our off-season topic, but still, it's like we got to keep both of these guys. They're all great. Well, you know, one is on a nerve, and the other one is it was destroyed by the Dodgers last year, which pains me to say because I like Dylan Cease. He's a great guy. He's very nice, very polite in the clubhouse. Whenever we go around him.
Yeah, I like Dylan Cease as the human. The human's great.
But as a ball player right now, you ain't helping me right now.
He needs to fully embrace looking like Doc Holliday. He needs his Doc Holliday swagger back.
I think he has already.
No, he's got the scruff on the side. He's got to be clean and then the mustache. We got to go full Doc Holliday here. The only thing, we brought this up last week about who's staying and who's going. I think there's I think there's an honest chance that the Padres keep Cease and King because Cease might come back on a 1-year deal. He's not represented by he's not a Boris client. He's an Aces client. If he was a Boris client, I'd be like, he's gone. He's not a Boris client. So he could, theoretically. I think I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up not getting a big offer somewhere and he could come back. Try to get right with Ruben Niebla before and redo the contract year like Blake Snell did. Cease is not a Boris client. His agent says Aces. So don't have to worry about that. I think a lot of people just assume good players are all Boris clients. I just think that seems to be the case. But he's not a Boris client. So you don't have to worry about the whole Boris client thing with Dylan Cease. Be nice to have Michael King back on the team, though. Let me tell you that. That'd be nice. But with him, like, I can't get upset. It's a nerve. It's a nerve thing. You can't. You don't know if it's going to get fixed or not, or it is. But like, it's mostly a pain tolerance thing. So hopefully, he starts feeling better. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. All-Stars starters were announced. Manny Machado was a starter. Plus, Padres are already declaring opportunities to play in the World Baseball Classic. We'll tell you who did it when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Might have a starter for Sunday. Might not have a starter for Sunday. It might be you, Darvish. It might not be you, Darvish. We don't know anything.
Might be Pedro Martinez at this point. Who knows?
It might be Frank Marchese.
Book an L, baby.
I don't know. You might not throw hard enough. It might be a lot of pop-ups. If Kike Hernandez could pitch in the big leagues,
I'd be a better catcher. It's what I grew up playing. I can't pitch a lick.
Can you hit?
No, I'd be the perfect Padre catcher because no, I can't hit either. Sign me up, baby.
Baseball Reference page is not up to date with the agent, so he is a Boris client. All right, well then he's just gonna sit. He's just gonna sit until mid-February and not get any money.
Sorry, buddy.
That's rough.
He draws the foul.
My bad. Hand up, accountability. I love how people get so I told you so stuff, but that's just our fan base in general. Hey, you know what? Admit the mistake.
It's also us too, to be fair. What's our famous saying on this show? Right, but
We're
too
always
early.
Right. That's right. It's too early again because he switched it. He was an Aces client. Baseball Reference hasn't updated that part of his deal, which means to me, none of these stats are real. So maybe he's better than you know what? Maybe he is better than 3-8 with a 4.62 ERA.
Well, no, that's on MLB.com as well.
No, you got to check all the other ones.
They update.
Got to check all the other ones.
They update every quarter. They update with every out. So
you got to check 2 other sites though.
Oops.
Got to have it like four references from Baseball Reference. Yeah, it says agents, says Aces still.
What is this, a college English paper? No, I'm not checking 20 places.
That's
check
what
2
I
or
said.
3.
Hey, you know what?
I'll check 2.
When Baseball Reference is what Sam Levitt uses, and then I jump on there and use it. Hey, I didn't know how to fact check Baseball Reference.
Listen, Sam's always right though.
It's true. Just not when it comes to football on September 26th. I don't know. He's got to be able to pull that off.
I don't know either.
Internet.
We talked about it yesterday off air. You know, he's got to do pre and post game here. And then
Get out to Arizona.
Yeah, then he's got to get under center for the Sun Devils and then come back for post game. How is he going to do anything related to the game?
I guess he could do it remotely. He could do the pre and post remotely in the locker room at Arizona State. I just need him to throw like 2 or 3 picks. I don't really care other than that.
For those of you who this has gone completely over your head, the Arizona State quarterback is Sam Levitt.
He spells it differently.
Leavitt.
Is it Levitt or does he go by Leave It? Does each have a different pronunciation?
Well, Sam better leave it if he wants to head. That was a poorly timed joke. I'm going to stop it there.
You get a foul for that.
Yep, I do.
He draws the foul.
Yep.
Nice try.
I'll gladly take that one.
That's your first personal, second team foul.
Well, no, it's going to be a third team foul. I'll just get it out of the way now.
He draws the foul.
So I have not gone to Kraft Taco.
He has not gone to Kraft Taco yet. Okay. All right. There you go.
We'll just start every show now with
that
we'll
ruins
just
the
start
bit
every
in the
show with me
noon.
getting
That
a
ruins
foul.
the bit in the noon hour. That ruins the bit. It can all be avoided if you just go to Kraft Taco.
I could, and the plan
You
was...
have a 3-day weekend. You can make it happen.
I do have a 3-day weekend. Actually, well, really 4 because we're out of here at 10 o'clock.
It's true.
So I can head to Balboa, have some Kraft Taco, take in some museums.
Be ready to report on Monday.
Or I could do what I'm going to do, which is go home, go to sleep because I didn't sleep at all last night, and have myself a day at home.
What if I bought you the taco? Tacos.
See, now,
you could go order the I'm not going to go with you, but go to Kraft Taco, get what and I'll Venmo you the order. I'll Venmo you the thing. Show me his receipt.
lads, the best food is free food. And if
That's
you want
right.
to get free food, this is how you do it.
Maybe they should. You know what? They should just bring the food to you.
That would be
When are we
cool.
getting lunch catered by Kraft Taco?
Kraft Taco? That would work.
Instead of sending you to go see our guy Eddie should come see you.
Speaking of which, anyone, any food place that would like to come in and allow us to sample, especially during our noon lunchtime hour, Feel free.
All right, what's the Yu Darvish update? Okay. This is from yesterday. Padres are operating with 9 relievers the next few days. They recalled Eduardo Nunez, who pitched yesterday, optioned Matt Waldron back. Pitching staff will get another shakeup in the coming days. The rainout forces them to call up a starting pitcher for Sunday's game against the Rangers. That could be Omar Cruz or Kyle Hart up from AAA, or Braden Nett, who spells his name correctly, from AA, or it could be Yu Darvish, who threw 64 pitches in a simulated game against low A hitters on Tuesday. Schultz said, could be, could not be. We haven't made the decision. I'm not saying it is him. I'm not saying it is him. Really, double negative, Mike?
He draws the foul.
Is that on Mike?
Yes, that's on Mike.
That should be like his 3rd foul.
Yeah, just about.
Come on, man. Okay. I'm not saying it's him. I'm not saying it's him. Anyway. Based on like what we know with Udar, I wonder how his outing went the other day. I mean, I think we would have heard if it was miserable.
I think we also would have heard if it was good too.
So somewhere in between. Had a mediocre outing in Lake Elsinore.
Listen, those 2 innings and what day did he pitch? I could look it up right now.
It was either
we have technology.
Was it Tuesday? I want to say it through like Tuesday in Lake Elsinore in a simulated game.
Single A, no?
Do like 60 pitches, right? Or something like that?
It's single A, correct?
You're on the flagship and you don't know what the...
I'm making sure because sometimes I
low
flip
A.
Fort Wayne and
the California League is now low A.
My God.
It used to be high A, so I'll give you the benefit of the doubt.
Thank you. See? I'm not as dumb as I look.
You always got to take it to the next level with the dumb thing.
Well, no, I know I'm dumb. I'm just saying.
All right, what do we got here?
I'm looking. Calm down. Relax yourself here.
Hey, you battled his tail off. That's what Martine said.
Sure, he was impressive. Let's see. Let's go to the box score for the first.
He might have the best simulated game record in MLB history. Been in a lot of them this year.
He did not pitch on the first, so that's interesting.
You're not going to see it on the box score. He pitched in a simulated game.
Oh, well, then what am I doing?
I don't know. That's why I was curious. I thought you were going to look up on the news articles when he threw. I think he threw like Tuesday. So hopefully we get an update on him on Friday. It'd be nice to see Yu Darvish on Sunday against his former team, the Texas Rangers.
Yu Darvish goes from CBS Sports. Yu Darvish goes 4 innings in a sim game. This is from 19 hours ago.
64 pitches. He threw 60-something pitches. Yeah, that was on Tuesday, wasn't it? Wednesday? Was it yesterday? Does it really matter?
Padres have been cagey on offering up date for his reading. I don't feel like
doing math.
Reading.
Okay.
Too much reading.
We'll figure that out.
I had a lot of reading to do here after traffic, so I'm trying to save up my words.
And before we get to traffic, let's talk about the announcements that we have had. Manny Machado commits to Team Dominican Republic for the World Baseball Classic. Xander Bogaerts has committed to Team Netherlands. I don't know if Luis Ariz will be a Padre next year. I would imagine he plays for Venezuela again. You think Jackson Merrill plays for Team USA?
He's going to have to, I think.
What do you mean have to?
Well, no, I mean that's an opportunity we're really not going to miss.
I know,
especially
but
your first time.
Is Team USA going to ask him?
Why wouldn't they?
I agree. I'm just saying. I feel like he would be the only other one. And then is Fernando playing? This is his first year he can actually play.
Fernando is expected to play for Team DR, but he hasn't committed yet.
He doesn't need to. It's in 2026, right?
Yeah, it's next. Yeah, it's.
Jason Adam was on the team last year.
It's what?
Or last time.
9 months away.
Think Adam pitches again for Team USA?
With the season he's had, I would be surprised if he did, honestly, because I would want to rest my arm a little bit.
Guys like LeBron playing the Olympics in the summertime. He's another possibility. Yuki Matsui probably pitches for Team Japan. Adrian Morejon plays for Cuba.
Again, I would want the extra rest.
Nick Pivetta, Team Canada.
Probably, most likely.
Suarez is from Venezuela, isn't he? I think he is.
I don't know.
I think he's probably Team Venezuela. The Venezuelan team's pretty good. Yeah, he's from Bolivar.
To the roster, Batman.
There's a high chance that you have a decent amount of Padres pitching or playing in the World Baseball Classic. Now, I don't think Suarez is back next year, so he's somebody you wouldn't have to worry about, and who knows what the Padres do in the offseason. But I think if I go through there right now, I think let's just on the safe side of over guessing. I think Adam will play for Team USA. I think Matsui plays for Team Japan. I think Morejon pitches for Cuba. I think Pivetta pitches for Canada. He might not, though, because pitchers usually are like, no thanks. But he might. I mean, he's from Canada. He's done very well. I don't know who else Canada would roll out there. Other Padres on the team. Like, I don't really count Arise because I don't know if he's coming back yet or not, but he's definitely playing for Team Venezuela. Xander's already announced that he's going to play. Manny's already announced that he's going to play for the Netherlands and the Dominican Republic, respectively. Jackson Merrill, I think, is a wild card there. I think he could start. And then Fernando for the DR. That's like almost 8 players.
Estrada from Mexico, possibly.
I guess, if he wants to.
Which is great. I mean, you have all these guys going to the World Baseball Classic, but the thing that everyone forgets about is you had 2020 was not normal spring training.
Yes, this is the first year that they've had a normal spring training in the last
since 2020,
right.
And now you're going right back into the World Baseball Classic, and you're 1 year. You had one normal spring training, and now no more.
Yes.
You know what I want no more of?
Traffic.
Yep, I want no more traffic.
But I do want more of Kelly Denick's traffic updates.
Yes, that's what I meant. I want no more traffic on the roads, but I want more of Kelly Denick's updates.
Make sure your ride's ready with Valvoline Instant Oil Change. Drive in, stay in your car, and be done in about 15 minutes. No appointment needed. For coupons, visit SoCalOilChange.com. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
You know that group chat? The one that's always blowing up with the biggest sports takes, debates, and breaking news?
You got barbecue back there, and you didn't invite me?
Yeah, we've got that too. Welcome to the Sports Thread, where we break down the top 5 stories in sports, just like you would with your crew.
Oh, no! Disaster! What a bad idea!
No filters, no silence, just real talk.
All right, time for the Sports Thread. Here's Frank Marchese. What's going on in sports that does not involve the San Diego Padres?
Does not involve the San Diego Padres. Well, first of all,
number 1.
Braden, I have a question for you.
I have an answer
when
for
you got into radio, who was your mentor?
Mentors?
Mine was a wonderful guy by the name of Dave Shepard. He took me under his wing.
Probably say like guys like Rich Herrera and Coach, and probably the 2 off the top of my head.
Good guys to follow, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, well, Shedeur Sanders has decided to do something else as far as who is mentoring him. Reports are going around Cleveland that he is being mentored by Deshaun Watson. Play style? Fine. Seems like a good fit. Off the field and personality-wise, Braden, can you think of anyone that you would want Shedeur Sanders to stay further away from than Deshaun Watson?
Yeah, Deshaun Watson isn't really. He hasn't made a lot of great decisions in his life. I mean, I think it's in probably not the best to be a mentor. I mean, the thing is for Shedeur, I mean, what are his options right now in Cleveland in terms of like the quarterback room?
Madden 26.
Yeah, right. So like it's not like he has a lot of options, and I'm not in the world where you just hold everybody's all of their stuff against them for the rest of their life kind of attitude. Like, I don't know if Deshaun's improved at all, but like if they're both on the field and he's helping them like get better as being a pro on the field, then I mean, I don't really have too much to say about that. Is it the best choice? Probably not. But you know what? Sometimes you got to play the hand that you're dealt. And Shedeur got dealt an interesting hand, and I'll leave it at that.
He certainly did get dealt an interesting hand.
Number 2.
Another person that got dealt an interesting hand, Panda down.
Yes, Red Panda. Oh, no.
Yeah, Red Panda went down the other day during a halftime performance for the WNBA's Commissioner Cup final between the Indiana Fever and the Minnesota Lynx. Her real name is Rong New. Sorry, apologies. She spent 11 hours in a Minneapolis hospital after falling from her gigantic tricycle the other night. Ended up getting a broken wrist from the fall. Braden, I'm sure we are wishing Red Panda well.
Yes, I've seen Red Panda a couple of times. I saw her at TCU once when I was a student. I've seen her, I think I saw her at USD one time, but she just travels all over the place and does halftime shows for basketball games. And she's wonderful. It's great.
Yep.
It's a great act. So it's really unfortunate that she got hurt. So hopefully we wish her a speedy recovery so we can see her back on the courts sometime soon.
Flipping as many plates and cups as she possibly can.
Number 3.
Yes, she was on a unicycle.
Yes. Did I say tri? Oh, I did say tri. My bad.
Tricycle sounds easier than
it
unicycle.
Does.
Foul.
Oh, for God's sake, fine.
He draws the foul.
Good news. If you foul out, you have to leave earlier on a holiday weekend.
Yes. Jurickson Profar started on Wednesday by addressing his teammates in the Atlanta Braves clubhouse, apologizing for missing the past 80 games for violating Major League Baseball's Joint Drug Prevention and Treatment Program.
Hey, guys, my bad. My mistake.
He ended it by talking to reporters.
Hands up, accountability. It's on me. I didn't know. My bad, guys.
He ended it by talking to reporters in that same clubhouse after going 2 for 4 with a home run and 2 runs scored in Atlanta's 8-3 victory over the Angels last night. We have an Angels fan in the studio with us. Apologies for that. Profar said, I forgot to talk to my teammates and to the fans and to everyone and to put it behind me. It's all about winning. I'm going to do everything I can to help this team win every single night. Braden, apology accepted.
The apology was accepted when he hit the 2-run bomb. That's where we're at.
Solo shot. He scored 2 runs.
Scored 2 runs. Solo shot. He hits a home run. Apology accepted. Moving on. I'm not going to sit on my high horse on the steroid guys because I don't care. And baseball doesn't care because they'll take the money for it. And then they after they get all the money, then they start disciplining on stuff. It's the same thing. Listen to Brian Kenny yesterday talk about how incensed he was about Barry Bonds potentially getting a statue at Oracle Park, and then started just destroying Jurickson Profar. You know what? It is what it is. Whatever. Apology accepted. He had a bomb without the steroids. Do you think he had another steroid test last night? It's possible.
Really quick.
Number 4.
We got no time for this. NHL officially allows the players to play in the Olympics next year in Milan. So congratulations to them.
Nice. They're letting the players play in the Olympics?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what they should do.
The
remember they did that a couple Olympics ago. That was one of the best Olympic hockey events we've seen.
Or the Frozen Four tournament that we just saw. That
was cool too.
4 nations.
That's right. Buy or sell, a move for every team should make in July. We'll get to it when we come back.
It's time to fire it up. From the beaches to the ballparks, from the gas lamp to North County, no one knows America's finest city like he does.
You can't just punt on a Manny Machado prime use.
He's a fourth-generation San Diegan, born and raised in the heart of this community. Passionate, opinionated, and always bringing you the real talk on your teams, your city, and everything in between.
Braden totally knows his stuff. He's ready for the next step. That guy is
Good.
Live and local, it's the Braden Surprenant Show.
But I think Braden's one of the up-and-coming young stars in the media game in San Diego.
Now, here's your host, Braden Surprenant.
What's up, San Diego? Starting the noon lunchtime hour for some people. Starting the 8 a.m. hour for others. We have 8 full hours of radio today. We've already made it through 2, Frank.
6 more to go.
6 more to go.
And we got to do the second 4 hours exactly the same word for word as the first.
Word for word. So we are 6 hours away or 2 hours away. However which way you want to see it.
We got a long day ahead of us, bud.
That's right.
Just kind of hit.
It's going to be a long time.
All hit at once. We got a long day, man.
Got to keep pushing through. We'll do our best to try to bring you guys great content about sports and the San Diego Padres. Let's talk about it. Here's what I want to do before we start this particular segment about the trade stuff. I love talking the trade stuff. In fact, as we mentioned, the date I had last night, it was all right. It wasn't very good. I'm not pursuing any further, correct? As we talked about, if you missed any of that, you can go back and listen to it. Started the show at our big open segment that we did back in the 6 a.m. hour / 10 a.m. hour. She was like, well, what do you guys talk about when the Padres aren't in season? I'm like, well, football,
That's a good question.
but also off-season baseball. She's like, what is that? So again, like, you don't have to be a sports fan, just like understand how it works. And I said, well, more of the business side, like trades, free agency. And the look on her face was just like, what are you talking about? So you understand where I'm coming from here, Frank? Like, is this making a little bit more sense now? It's like, it's never going to work. Yeah, exactly. Give me medical terms. For some reason, I only on dating apps only match with nurses. I don't know why that's possible.
Listen, that's a cheat code, man.
But it's all like, it's always nurses. It's always like medical field people.
I have a friend who lives in Myrtle Beach. He's the local news television station producer. Married a nurse. They're living nice right now. He's not making much. Making probably a little bit more than we are. So it's a cheat code.
When you got to think about, we talked about this before with the Johnny. We talked about this before earlier with our industry. Like when it comes to compatibility with your job. Because when you work in sports media of any kind, like weekends, holidays, having to move whenever, because jobs open up in other cities, right? Like that. So you have to find somebody that is okay with moving. You have to find somebody that's okay with missing holidays. You got to find somebody that's okay with nights, with weekends, like all that stuff. Especially if you do also what I do and travel with a D1 school to do games, like a lot of moving around, a lot of all that stuff. Job compatibility, like nurses could take travel contracts. Like that would, from that perspective, they could get up and uproot and move and stuff to follow where you're going. I would say that's one of them. That would be terrible. But you know what?
Braden and I had this conversation last night where we were kind of discussing whether or not we were going to do this. And they're like,
this is why dating me is a problem also. And I try not to tell people what I do because it's also content. It's like, I mean, I'm trying to relate to everybody.
Content merchants here, folks.
So you have to find the compatible jobs. We're getting way more comments on this now. We did this at 6 a.m. So if you missed any of it, if you want to know how the date went, it was okay. It was very nice, very kind. Values were some of the same, but at the same time, it was like she had no idea what was going on with everything in my life. You have to have somebody that understands. Not a lot of familiarity with that particular deal.
Not necessarily understands, but somebody that accepts it. Like accepts that this is going to be a reality for me.
Right. We got Tony. Come on, man. The BS show is the best because it talks about sports. Man, we mix in other stuff. We're getting there, Tony. We're getting there. Relax, big dog. Okay, so to the compatibility thing. So with the nurse thing, they could get up and move. Other compatibles, but like real estate, you can get a real estate license in a different place. Teachers would be kind of hard, but like, if you're working a corporate job, unless you're working remotely, one of my old boss, Rich, who you know from CBS.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
His wife works for Marriott.
Oh, there you
and
go.
works remotely filling hotels. She can live wherever.
Yeah.
That's also perfect. Because guess what? When you travel a lot, you need hotels.
Mm-hmm.
There's some perks to that. But that's the difficulty for people that are in the industry. And there's a lot of us in the industry. It's like that's the difficult part of being in this industry. And that's why when I tell younger people in our industry, and I said this at 6 a.m. We had one of our classes at TCU for sports broadcasting, one of the days was focused on social life and dating because it's very difficult to do in this field. That's one of the cons. But you know what? There's so many pros of this, right? I mean, I'm having a great time doing my job every single day. It's not really work. So when talking about this, like you have to find the people that can fit that and understand the lifestyle because it's very difficult to be with, right? It's just a difficult industry. I mean, think about like just the different times, right? That all of us at the station have to deal with. Like midday's easy for us, right? But like in the morning.
Has it been? I can't remember the last time I've worked a midday, like for a decent stretch of time. That was the one thing I said about getting, God, made me so
when
happy.
I came back from Italy, you're like, this is great.
I'm going to be so happy to finally be on every day. I know what my schedule is. I don't have to keep looking to see what time I'm in. I haven't seen that in a month and a half.
But here's the other thing too. Like my buddy, I have a friend that he's the sports anchor in Louisville. And he's engaged to an anchor at another station in Louisville.
Yeah, that's common.
She just got a job in Seattle.
Oof.
He's still in Louisville. Like, I don't.
Oh, boy.
But, I mean, he encouraged it was an upgrade for her. But, like, sometimes even when you work the same job, it doesn't work out all the time. Because it's, all right, well, which way are we going here? Which career path are we taking? Like, I know people that, there's some that like do broadcasting for a D1 school and the other one's an SID. And it's like, okay, well, there's not always going to be two jobs at the particular school. So anyway.
Johnny in the chat, though, had it perfectly right. And I think this is the majority of it. You just got to find someone who likes you enough to put up with your nonsense.
Correct. Kurt Sullivan says his friend is a flight attendant dating another flight attendant, so their schedules line up and they travel on their off days.
There you go.
That makes sense. Captain's like, who dates anymore? Not you, old man, because you're getting soft in your old age. God, man, Captain's been a little lively today.
He has been. Very nice to see.
So, anyway, what we're starting with this, got on this tangent.
Trades.
Because we talked about the dating thing. I was going somewhere with that, and I forgot what I was going with.
We're not trading dates, but sorry, that's not happening.
Trading spaces. Oh, Joel Sherman. You have it ready to go?
I do have it ready to go.
Joel Sherman yesterday. I wanted to preface this before we get into this particular exercise of trades. I love talking about trades. Oh, that's what it was. She didn't know anything about the business thing. I enjoy talking about the business side of sports. Free agents, pickups, trades, all that stuff. Playing general manager's fun. Balancing budgets, trying to make your team the best you can under certain restrictions. That's fun. I love talking about that stuff. That's why I love the off season too, just as much as the regular season. So I told her last night on this day, like that's honestly like where I have the most fun on Sports Talk Radio. So this stuff is great. I love this. This is what I tune in for. This stuff, and then the other thing is my conspiracies of how to fix college football. I mean, I could spend hours on that.
We will actually next hour.
I'm talking to like, here's what I would do. I'd read conference realignments. I mean, all that stuff. That is up my alley. My friends make fun of me for how much conference realignment stuff I talk about. I'll send an idea and I get the It's Always Sunny. That's where we're at. Any conference realignment stuff, my buddies give me so much hard time for. I'm all over it though. All over it. So here's what before we're gonna play this. Throw the idea out of what Joel Sherman's brought up and if it makes sense for the Padres. We're gonna play Joel Sherman first, and we'll react to it after the break. But here's what Joel Sherman had to say on MLB Network yesterday, talking about what he would pitch the Atlanta Braves to do at this year's trade deadline.
So I wonder if I could play a game here, because I know what's going to happen is our aggregator friends out there are going to take what I'm about to say and have it wrong. Whenever I suggest something, all I ever want to do is say, would the people involved have a serious meeting about it if I presented it? So I'd like to make you the Atlanta Brave general manager and you the Seattle Mariner general manager. Should they trade Acuna right now? Right? Here would be my argument to the Atlanta Brave front office on why it would be valuable to do this right now. Can you look at this team, which I think has almost zero chance to get to the playoffs now, down 4 key starting pitchers. Their offense, Albies has gone the wrong way. Harris has gone the wrong way. You have no idea of the money you're spending on Profar, what you have.
Right.
So this might be a lost year. Can you see a championship in the next few years? I don't, because Albies has gone the wrong way. Harris has gone the wrong way. Sale will be 37 next year. You don't have depth in your farm system. This has been a great period for us, the Braves. 7 straight years in the playoffs, 6 division titles, 1 championship, big deal. By the way, we won that championship without Acuna.
Right.
He got hurt. We played the last 4 months of last season without Acuna and made the playoffs again. By the way, we have a better record this year without Acuna at the beginning of the season than with Acuna. At some point, I would say he's got 3 years at $51 million left. He's had serious knee injuries to both knees. I feel like we have to talk seriously about, hey, if we just trade Raciel Iglesias and Ozuna, the free agent guys at the end, we're not getting anything back that changes our future.
Right.
Do we want to try to take another 7-year run along the way? I would say let's have a serious meeting about, is it time to do that? Because Acuna in this marketplace, without offensive players of this stature, you can make the Juan Soto trade. Who can I make the Juan Soto trade with? Now I got to talk to the Seattle Mariners, who've made the playoffs 1 time since 2001, are the only of the 30 teams that has never made the World Series. They're about to let the zombie Astros win the division again because they haven't taken advantage. Their right field, you're welcome. Their right field production is the worst in the sport. You know what they have? In the last Baseball America rankings, which literally came out yesterday, 9 top 100 prospects. They have a lot of duplication in the middle infield. What do the Braves need? Albies has gone the wrong way. Nick Allen is playing shortstop. Is there a Soto trade to be made here? And the question I would ask the Seattle Mariners is this. The Cubs hadn't won in 108 years, and people were like, how are you giving up this much for Aroldis Chapman, Theo Epstein? And he said, if not now, when?
Right.
If not now, when for the team that's made the playoffs once in a quarter century and has never been to the World Series? Can I convince you both to have meetings?
Yes. By the way, not crazy and bold. Acuna is now Soto had 2.5 years left. Right now, Acuna has 3.5. 3 years at 51 is very manageable and reasonable.
Do the knees make the return a little less? That's the question.
I think the whole mercurial nature of the player, who at his best, at his ceiling, he's in the upper echelon. Now, the mercurial nature here is not, look, in 2023, there's 159.
now.
It's MLB Network. Here's a production note for you. Every time you put a graphic up, you don't need to have music over the people talking.
You know, people watch that show and don't listen to it all the time. You know, maybe some of us enjoy the music, Frank. Did you ever think about that? Huh?
I did, and I don't care. I don't care what you want.
We do have a foul on Captain. So
He draws the foul.
first foul in the chat. They get 5. I'm shooting free throws. As soon as I heard Brian Kenny's voice, by the way, it's just cut it off. I don't want to hear what he has to say. Cut it off. Non-ball knower, throws a bunch of numbers around, doesn't know what any of them mean. Tell him to shut up. Is there any world in which it makes sense for the Atlanta Braves to trade Ronald Acuna Jr.? Who could they make a Juan Soto level trade with? We'll talk about it when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97 through the Fan. Baseball coverage on 97 to the Fans presented by T-Mobile. Head to T-Mobile.com and get a great deal on an iPhone 16 Pro. This hour on 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by Staples. Your local Staples has hot deals and super low prices throughout the store on everything for your business. And right now at Staples, save up to $250 off your print order. Exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details. Ends on June 14th. Plus, save even more with the Easy Rewards program at Staples. Get that taken care of. Oh, wow. How about this? How about this in the chat? Frank? Joe T. Garcia's fan. I've dabbled in some Joe T. Garcia's in the past.
I don't know what that is.
It's a gigantic Mexican food place in Fort Worth, Texas.
Gotcha.
It's very touristy. It's very good. For their standards, it's good. July 14th. Whatever. I said June. You know why I said June? On that copy, by the way? Because people are like, June 14th? It's already passed. The copy says 6/14. What would that be?
That would be June 14th.
That would be June 14th. So, yeah, I did say June, but it should say July 14th. Or they just gave us a read that is a month old.
Honestly, to be fair, I'll give myself half a foul on that.
Why?
He draws the foul.
Because
you
it
just
was
copy and paste from the copy. That's not your fault.
Right. But
foul on the copy is right. It's not on you. It's on the copy.
The copy says is brought to you by Staples. There's supposed to be an ad that comes after that, but however, we don't always read these on time. So I put the read in there and I didn't update the read. So it's partly on me.
So it's not on the copy.
Like I said, I give myself the foul.
Frank wants to go home.
We're also giving the chat a foul too, by the way. We didn't
Chat gets a foul.
He draws the foul.
That's their
dishing these
seconds.
out left and right.
It's a holiday weekend. Like the meme we saw earlier today on social media. Last day of work before the holiday.
Oh, we're just taking a knee.
And the Browns are taking a knee.
I'm not checked out, Go Aztecs. I'm not awake.
Copy.
What's your vector, Victor?
Shirley can't be serious.
I am serious.
Don't call me Shirley.
There you go.
I can quote Airplane all day.
Probably shouldn't on the radio, much beyond what we just did.
That's probably the limit of airplane quotes you can say. Anybody under the age of 40 know what we're talking about. Guy looks a lot like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I don't know what you're talking about, son.
Our in-studio guest has no clue what we're on about right now.
Good homework assignment. Go watch Airplane. Phenomenal.
And watch it with a 1970s mind. Do not watch it with a 2025 mind because you will not enjoy it.
You'll be offended. It's hilarious, though. Anyway, moving on. What's your vector, Victor? I bet you people listening are like, the 32 and 30-year-old, how do they know what this movie is? It's great. To go back to Joe T. Garcia's, it's great. I actually, after I graduated at TCU, we took the family to Joe T. Garcia's. It's a gigantic restaurant that has all this patio space and stuff like that. For dinner, they don't have a menu. They have two options. It's either option 1 or option 2. They tell you what it is there, and it's cash only. They don't even tell you what the prices are, so you better be prepared. Good margs, everything else like that's good. It's Tex-Mex. It's not it's not with San Diego Mexican food, but for what it is, it's great. So, anyway. Margaritas. Yes, Alan. The margaritas are good. What we teased going to break was the Atlanta Braves and one reason why they would listen to Joel Sherman's idea of potentially trading Ronald Acuna Jr. We asked our resident Braves fan in the chat, Adam Klug.
Adam Klug's reaction, that would be the reason.
That was the fun. I knew that was coming. I knew that was coming. His ears were bleeding at his house. Ears were bleeding. Listening to Joel Sherman talk about the reasons to trade Ronald Acuna Jr. For me, if Ronald Acuna Jr. became available, let's say the Braves said they're open to conversation. I would not be against potentially trying to trade for Ronald Acuna Jr. If it came down to giving them DeVries, I'd have to think about it. Probably saying no. If Salas and prospects got it done, I might be more interested. It's 4 years of control. And what Joel Sherman said is like, oh, you could get a Juan Soto type payback. Because Ronald Acuna Jr. is 27 and a half years old. He's making $17 million for the next 2 years, and then he has 2 club options after that. You have 4 years of control in his prime. I would consider it. But at the same time, if you're Atlanta, like if he was 1 year away and those are player options, I could understand trading Ronald Acuna Jr. But with 4 years of control, if you're Atlanta and you decide to trade Ronald Acuna Jr., I'm sorry, you got to fire people. I just like, what would you be doing? You would have to get back multiple Ronald Acuna Jr.'s for it to make any sense. I know there's some like injury problems and everything like that, but there is no way. I can't even come up with a good idea of why that would make sense. I asked Frank, who is a Mets fan, who would love to have Acuna out of the division. Correct? Am I saying anything wrong there?
No, you didn't. I would love to have Acuna out of the division.
Frank had no answer on why it would make any sense. The Bravo fan base would riot. Yes, they would. It would totally riot. 4 years of control, and the guy is making, in comparison to what he's worth, and I know he's been injury prone, he's making nothing, dude. $17 million a year? Are you kidding me? Why would you give that up? What that would tell people would be, we don't believe we can compete in the next 4 years. We're a big actions speak louder than words show. The actions of the Atlanta Braves potentially selling Ronald Acuna Jr. right now would be, we don't think we can compete in the next 4 years. That would be, honestly, let me ask you this question. Here's a different angle on that. I'd love to hear Adam's answer in the chat on this, by the way. If the Atlanta Braves decided to part ways with Ronald Acuna Jr., would that take the Mavericks off the hook for dumbest trade in 2025?
It would come close.
It's close. Acuna's a little bit older. It would be neck and neck with the Mavericks Luka trade if they decided to do that. I mean, that would be absurd. I agree with Adam. I still think the Luka trade would be worse. It would still be worse. But could you imagine, like, over the holiday weekend, you get a Jeff Passan bomb and it's Acuna's going somewhere? I mean, mass hysteria would break out. And honestly, if that move happened, I think a bunch of moves would start I think people would start panicking and guys would be flying off the board. So I wanted to get that out of the way before we got to the whole buy or sell every move a team should make in July.
But we also have to get to why we gave Chad a foul.
Oh, here's why we gave the Chad a foul, because we do got to get the break. I got 2 minutes here. So here's the deal. The chat gets a foul because a lot of the people in the chat, we're holding people accountable here, okay? Hand up. I took accountability on the Cease thing. Hey, that's my bad. My fault for trusting Baseball Reference.
I took accountability on the read.
Yeah. We take accountability here on this show. A lot of you in the chat that have been dogging the Padres for the Juan Soto trade were like, let's make the Acuna thing happen. Whatever they want. Send them. I don't care if it's DeVries or Salas. Trade the farm for Acuna. We're going to do this again? We're going to do this again. We're going to go down that path again? Really? I'm warning it now. Again, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. All the stuff we talk about in the now, right? Got to make the decisions in the present. As Chris Ello said a couple days ago, you guys cut Bogarts. You can't enjoy his success. He's cut. He's not on the team anymore. He's doing that for somebody else. On our hypothetical fantasy baseball team that we do on the YouTube chat. Just think about it for a second. Rod. Suarez, Wandy, and Campusano for Acuna. Oh, my God. Come on, Rod.
Rod, that is certainly one of the ideas of all time.
Throw in a breakfast burrito, Rod, and I think they might be onto something. Throw in a breakfast burrito and the 5-minute clip I had giving Wandy Peralta a grade. You know what? You people were mad at me at that. You guys were upset at me for defending Wandy Peralta. But I tell you what, you play that to the Braves front office, they might be concerned. Hey, you know what? This Wandy guy's pretty good. Maybe I was selling him to the Braves, guys. Do you ever think about that? Huh? B+ for Wandy Peralta. Just saying, first half. Hey, look at the stats. Xander Bogaerts still hot at this point offensively. We want to mention that too. Buy or sell some trades that need to happen at the deadline. The Padres one that's on here is interesting because the player might have an injury. And no, it's not Luis Robert Jr. We'll talk about it when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show on Standing His Number One Sports Station 97 through the Fan. 8:40. 12:40. On 97 through the Fan. Braden Surprenant Show. Filling in for Ben and Woods in the morning. We are back to our normal time from 10 to 2. We had a phone call earlier today from Luis. Says he's never listened to our show before and might be listening to our show now. So hopefully there are more of you like that out there. If you haven't done so already, follow us on social media. We really appreciate it. Again, we are usually on after Ben and Woods. So you can stay tuned throughout Ben and Woods and then keep the line moving with the Braden Surprenant Show. Middays. We talk a lot about food in the noon hour. The lunchtime hour, sponsored by Kraft Taco. Frank is yet to go. Frank disappoints us more and more every time he does not go. But he will go eventually. Isn't that right, Frank?
Why did you say that with such an accusatory tone with you? I'm not a fan of the accusatory way in which you said
it's
that.
just going to keep escalating until you have a damn taco. All right? Can we just get a taco, please?
There's still 2 bats in here, right?
I got one right here, buddy. Let's go.
I got one over here. We're even still.
Oh, you can see the one in my view right there.
I've also got a foot on you.
What is that
So
supposed to mean?
I got the reach advantage. You probably have the speed.
Got to
but
catch me first. That's right.
It's a good thing this is a circular building. I'll just wait for you to come around the other side.
I'm trying to bring the love of the taco to your taste buds.
Okay.
You guys refusing it. This guy goes, I'd trade 4 postseason runs for Acuna for 6 years of DeVries. That's what they said about Soto. That's why the chat got a foul. Right there. Like where your head's at. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. Where's my liner sheet? Right now, need a contestant for our midday sports standoff. If you can take me down in sports trivia, you will be qualified for a chance to win our grand prize, a 2-night stay at Park MGM Las Vegas, 2 tickets to Motley Crue on September 19th, and a $100 gas card. Catch Motley Crue's Las Vegas residency at Dolby Live at Park MGM September 12th through October 3rd. Tickets at Ticketmaster.com. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. What's our theme today?
Sports.
Thank you.
Gotcha.
Thought we're going with real estate today as our question. But
no, that would be too much in your realm.
That is not in my realm.
Your mother a real estate agent?
Yeah, that doesn't mean I'm a real estate agent.
Well, I mean, at least something.
College athletics is in my realm. So hopefully we get a contestant for that. As Frank's doing that, let's talk about this trade thing. ESPN, David Schoenfield, put together what he thinks should be a move for every team in Major League Baseball at this year's trade deadline. A player every team should trade for or away this July. Frank, do we have that pulled up? We're going to go through it.
Oh, okay. Hold on one second. Let me just. We do have our guest ready, but
we'll get to that in a second. We got to get to traffic.
No, I know. I'm just saying. I'm like, relax, calm yourself.
Everybody's calm here. You're the only one not calm.
I have it set ready to go. Which team would you like to look at first?
Let's look at you want to save the Padres to the second hour or the next hour?
This is your show, buddy.
No, hey, we have the production meetings on
air. You're right.
Yeah, right. It's a good bit that we have.
So, you know what?
I'm putting the ball in your court. Call a play. Let's go.
Let's go with, you know what? Seattle was mentioned before. Let's go with Seattle.
All right. And it involves the same thing as Arizona. Go ahead.
Detroit Tigers and Seattle Mariners trade for Eugenio Suarez.
Those teams should trade for Eugenio Suarez at the deadline, which means also in David Schoenfield's thing, Arizona should trade away Eugenio Suarez. I think Arizona absolutely should sell what's not attached. Anything that's not locked down on the ship should be thrown overboard if you're the Arizona Diamondbacks. Are we biased because we don't like Arizona and they're the Rattlebacks and they're in the division? You know what? That's neither here nor there. But I will say, it makes a lot of sense with the injuries that Arizona has and the young core that they have to ship everything off that's not tied down to the ship. And anything that's not tied down to the ship is anybody that's a free agent next year. Merrill Kelly is one of those players. They could even trade away Shelby Miller if they wanted to. Zach Gallen's a free agent. Josh Naylor's a free agent. Eugenio Suarez is a free agent. Any of those guys. If I'm Arizona, I'm shipping them off. Here's the thing with Eugenio Suarez. He's hitting so many home. He's having a great year. You're going to get some good prospects for Eugenio Suarez at the deadline. If you're Seattle and Detroit, I mean, I think that's better for Detroit than Seattle. Seattle never has enough. Even if they bring in Eugenio Suarez back to Seattle, I don't necessarily think it's going to be enough with their offensive woes. They haven't been able to hit in the last 5 years. And they're not like right there in contention. They're 7 games back. Now, they might be in the wild card spot. But I think Eugenio Suarez would be a good ad for Detroit more than anything else.
I agree. Let's knock 3 more teams off of this list here.
You don't want to go to traffic first?
No, we could do.
Let's get to traffic.
All right, let's do that then.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
This game day traffic report is brought to you by Crystal Geyser Alpine Spring Water. Just a couple things to mention here. One is a stalled car northbound 15 before Claremont Mesa Boulevard. It's in the center divide. Also, southbound 163 before Friars Road. We are getting reports of some wood debris in lanes. What makes Crystal Geyser Alpine Spring Water different? They always bottle their Alpine Spring Water less than 1.5 miles from the spring source. And all of their bottles are made with 50% recycled plastic from their own recycling plants. Crystal Geyser, bottled at the spring source. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Welcome to Midday Sports Standoff on the Braden Surprenant Show.
I can't believe what I'm seeing right now.
The ultimate head-to-head battle where sports knowledge and quick thinking collide.
No, it's no good. Are you kidding me?
Contestants will go toe-to-toe with Braden in a sports trivia deal where every correct answer brings them closer to victory.
Down the sideline! Wow! Unbelievable!
But 3 strikes and it's game over.
This is not Detroit, man. This is the Super Bowl.
Can you outsmart Braden? The Midday Sports Standoff starts now.
All right, Frank, what do we got today? Who's playing?
Today, we have Aaron in, let me get this up first. Aaron in Oceanside. Aaron, how are you doing today?
I'm good. How you guys doing?
Good,
Doing
good.
well.
Have you heard our game before?
Not really.
Okay, so I'm going to give you one topic that has multiple answers. You two are going to go back and forth. You and Braden are going to go back and forth trying to answer, to get all of the answers to this topic. If you get 3 wrong, you're out.
Turn your radio down.
Yeah, if you could turn your radio down real quick. But, if you get 3 wrong, you are out. If you beat or tie Braden, you will win. You will be qualified for the chance to win the trip to Vegas. So you got it?
Yeah, I got it.
All right. So today's topic, there are 5 possible answers to this one. Baseball teams that were created in the 1960s that have not relocated. So I'll give you guys one hint. The Seattle Pilots were created in 1969. However, they relocated, so they are not an answer.
I'm sorry. You said teams that were started in the 60s have never relocated?
There are 5 teams that were created in the 1960s that have not relocated.
Okay.
So, Aaron, you have first crack.
I'm not too good. Try Boston.
Well, Boston is not one of them. Braden.
It's going to be hard. The Padres. They were started in 1969. They have not relocated.
There you go. That was your give in there. Aaron?
Philadelphia.
It's got all the original teams.
Unfortunately not.
Kansas City Royals started also in 1969. They've also not moved.
That is right, Kansas City. It's last gasp, Baron.
I don't know. San Francisco.
No, that will not be it. So 3 and out, unfortunately, for Aaron. Braden?
Would you consider... Well, what about the Angels? They started at Dodger Stadium and moved down to Anaheim.
Angels
but
are
they're still from
1960.
LA.
Angels are 1961, so yes.
How many more teams are there?
There are 2 more teams.
I think Texas was a relocation, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm not
The
going to say
Rangers
Texas.
were a relocation. Yeah.
What about... Say, usually, like, questions like this, I'm just like, okay, well, Frank's... Usually understand. It usually falls under one of Frank's teams. The New York Mets.
Mets were 1962.
And who we got one more left?
There's one more left. I will give you a hint. They're not called the same thing that they are now. They have not moved.
But
they
they've
still play in the city, but they have
changed their name?
rebranded.
They've rebranded? That's hard. Hang on. They've rebranded?
Yes.
And they've stayed in the same city? I don't know.
Be the Houston Astros.
Oh, the Astros.
They were created in 1962
as the
Houston Colt
45s. There you go. That was a difficult question.
That was a difficult one, and unfortunately, I was hoping that, well, the Padres one was kind of a given.
Yes,
I thought that was going to be an easy one. I thought that was going to be one you guys are both going to struggle on, and we'd get a tie out of it at least. But
he was going with some OG teams, dude.
Yes.
Phillies. Oh, they've been around a long time. They were the Red Sox. All right. Difficult question today.
It was.
But we appreciate Aaron jumping on. We got an hour left. We talked about breakfast sandwiches yesterday, didn't we?
We did talk about breakfast sandwiches yesterday.
How about Rod? Rod had a breakfast burrito today. He had the links in his breakfast burrito.
That's not okay.
He said they were chopped up.
That's
Still
not okay. Then just go with ground sausage.
I know the ground sausage is probably better. Are we all in agreement that 4th of July is a Burgers and Dogs Day?
Yes.
Yes, we
100%.
talked about that before. I think you got to do Burgers and Dogs for the 4th of July. You want to get fancy and do steaks? Sure. By all means. But Burgers and Dogs, to me, seems to be the play.
Bratwurst, too. Somebody did mention bratwurst that I did whiff on that one. That is a good one.
You prefer a brat or a dog?
Bratwurst, honestly.
Really?
Yes.
I'm not a big bratwurst person.
Brats are good. They're really good.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you put on your brat? Sauerkraut?
Nothing, honestly.
You just had the brat and the bun?
I'd rather taste the bratwurst than whatever I'm putting on it.
Sauerkraut's good for the digestion.
It's not good for me, though.
No, you don't like it?
No.
Your body doesn't handle that? Or you just don't like the taste?
I just don't like it.
Fermented onions? You don't like fermented onions?
No. Believe it or not, no.
I used to not like sauerkraut either. Now I'm having it with meals because it's good digestive.
I do
good
remember.
Probiotic that's natural.
Good.
Juan Ruiz is going to have tri-tip nachos.
That's not bad.
At the ballpark.
That's not bad.
He's going to go to the game tomorrow. Somebody else having tri-tip. I had 2 bacon wrap brats last night. I like Jack's. Hot links. Hey, I might be in play for some hot links. Final hour of the Braden Surprenant Show. We'll continue buy or sell some moves at the trade deadline to finish up the last hour. San Diego Sports Station. Thanks for the fan. little Blink-182 to get you through on a Thursday. I don't know why our liner page takes forever to load when I pull it up. That's like the one page that doesn't load.
It's probably because you got 40,000 different things on there from God knows how long ago instead of just the 2 pages that we need.
There's 16 pages of things on there.
Right, but
when we have to remake promos, do you want to rewrite the
I've
scripts?
only used 5.
You've been, yeah. Do you need to keep all of the ad? Frank has every single read we have ever done saved on here.
Oh my God, it's 6 reads. And it's because I don't want to keep reformatting it to where it looks like one continuous paragraph.
Okay. Just saying. But that page takes forever. There's a lot of stuff on the, oh, did I delete? No, there's 11 pages worth of stuff on our rundown sheet too.
Yeah, that's another thing that one does take forever for me to load.
Yeah, the liner one takes forever for me to load. The other ones don't. This hour 97 through the fan. This is what sparked this because I needed to read this. This hour 97 through the fan is brought to you by Amazon. Okay, I've got some good news and I've got some great news. The good news is that Prime Day is almost here. The great news, this year you'll have 4 days to find deals on all your favorite things. Shop Prime Day July 8th through the 11th. Yes, it's July, which is good.
July.
Not June. Frank.
Yeah, I know. That was my stupid mistake. We've already gotten a foul. By the way, you get...
He draws the foul.
For the cabbage?
Yes, because, yeah, sauerkraut is cabbage, not
onions. I knew that.
You knew... Yeah,
I did know that.
You knew that.
Because there was other pickled cabbage stuff that I used to put on things. They're like, oh, it's like sauerkraut.
So what is that, our 7th team foul combined?
No, you haven't had that many. I've only had 2.
That's not your 3rd?
No.
I thought that was your...
That's my 2nd.
Yeah, she's saying it's your 3rd.
No, it's just the cease and that. The agency and that. What's the other one?
She's checking.
What was the other one?
She's going back through the show.
No, she's not. What was the other one?
We'll figure it out. Because I know I've got a couple.
You have 3, but you start with one every day because you don't go to Craft Taco. The chat has a lot more than you and I do.
Yeah, the chat has been racking up the fouls today.
And Captain in the chat wants to know that Captain wants to know if it resets at the midday spot. And I said, no, they carry over, dude. So you're in trouble.
Like I said, we're doing the show word for word. So no, we don't.
That's right. You know what? Adam Paul gets a foul for saying who cares about the fouls. It's another one on the chat. We're going to be shooting free throws soon.
That's another foul.
Another foul. So we were talking about the somebody in the chat said they're going to do handmade burgers. Those are the best. I'm debating whether or not I should make that. I have all this leftover trimmed meat from doing ribs, which I don't want pork in my burger, but we have filet meat, we have brisket meat, we have, what else do we have? Ribeye meat. Those are not all the best to make burgers with, but we can mix it up. I might have to do that.
We had mentioned before about Luis Ortiz getting put on a leave of absence while the MLB had him under investigation.
We have an update on that?
Apparently it's gambling.
Wow.
From Jeff Passan.
Passenbaum. That doesn't surprise me.
It does. Sadly, it doesn't.
That's going to continue to be a problem in sports.
Yeah, it is.
When people have access to it all the time. Cleveland Guardians right-hander, this is according to Jeff Passan. Cleveland Guardians right-hander Luis Ortiz is under investigation for gambling. Ortiz was placed on paid leave by MLB earlier today amid a league investigation into gambling activities. First on the news were Ken Rosenthal and Zach Meisel.
We got a lot of baseball players getting popped for gambling here recently.
And basketball players. And
you know what would be a really good idea for Major League Baseball right now? Break ground on a stadium in Las Vegas. That'd be a great look.
Absolutely. Anybody know who Pete Rose is? Maybe learn their lesson with the Pete Rose thing?
By the way, I do find it really rude. The Pete Rose statue in Cincinnati, the one where he's sliding.
Yes.
The direction at which he's sliding away from the stadium. You know what just so happens to be right directly in the line at which he's sliding?
What?
A sports book.
Nice. There's a sports book at Wrigley.
Yeah.
DraftKings Sportsbooks at Wrigley. I thought you were going to say Skyline Chili. But
no, but to have Pete Rose sliding into a sports book, little on the nose.
This has been brought to you by DraftKings. Anyway, homemade burgers. It's not a bad play because then that saves me a trip to Costco. But I still have to go to Costco for buns, so I guess it doesn't really save me any trip at this point. I do have a meat grinder. I can grind some of the frozen meat that I have in my freezer.
It's a great way to save money on ground meat.
That's right. I will grind the meat for burgers. Too many people in the chat are saying pause for no. Get your head out of the gutter. All right.
I did forget. I was going to get that drop today, and I forgot.
Which one?
The phrasing from Archer.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot about that.
Should have. Okay. All right. Moving on to the trade stuff. Speaking of, Costco today is going to be bananas. Yes, it is. I'm going to be on KOSI today at 4:40, by the way.
Congratulations.
Talking high school football and Padres, I think, with Brandon Stone.
Do you need a producer?
If you want to, I guess. I don't know. Do you think you produce it better than they do? Is that what you're saying?
Depends if I'm awake at 4:40.
That's right.
This afternoon.
Brandon Stone texted me. He was like 4:40, 5:40, or 6:40. I'm like, just pick one of them and I'll figure it out. I'll plan my nap around then and the time I'll go to Costco.
You will get the Ben Higgins experience. You've sat in his chair all week. You filled in his spot.
Not really, because Ben is doing all of the sports news. I'm there for one segment. He's doing on multiple shows a night.
It's a taste, at least.
And here's the other reason why I'm not Ben, because I give Ben more credit than that, is tomorrow I do not have to wake up early and do it again, because this is like a Friday. So I will be on KOSI tonight at 4:40. Tune in.
Another way you were not like Ben, is that you did not run up the Rocky steps in flip-flops yesterday and have it posted on social media.
No, I did not do that when I was in Philly. It was also frigid when I was in Philly for the Army-Navy game. So I will not be wearing...
It didn't look all that warm there yesterday.
I'm sure it was hot.
2 days ago.
It was probably hot.
It's 2 days ago.
In the summertime, even though it's cloudy there and there's water on the ground, it was probably piping hot in Philly. But anyway, we've been doing this trade thing. And our young future GM is back. And hopefully he's got another trade. That's our guy, Davis. Davis in San Diego. Davis, what do you got for me today, man?
I got 3 trades.
3 trades? Yeah, you got to limit to one, dude. I'm not doing more than 1 trade a day.
Yeah, I'll go with one.
So let's bank the other ones, all right? And you know what? Use maybe the tweaks here and there in this trade to fix your other ones over the weekend. Let's be ready for a couple trades next week. We can't burn it out all at once, all right?
Yeah.
All right,
yeah.
give me your best one.
So this one is with the Angels for Taylor Ward and Hunter Strickland.
Oh, no! Davis, that was like the worst 2 names you could possibly pick, and I'm going to tell you why. Bailey, who called into the show a couple of weeks ago and gave a great trade proposal for Shane Langoliers, is a future journalism student. She's a journalism student right now. She's a sophomore in college. Going to be a sophomore in college. She's dropping in on the show, learn a little bit about the journalism stuff and sports radio and all that kind of stuff. And she's an Angels fan. And the 2 players that she said the Padres should never trade for are Hunter Strickland and Taylor Ward. Like, literally, she said, like, those are the 2 players that are the worst. I cannot wait to see them off of the halos.
She is trying so hard not to scream right now.
Not to strangle you through the phone. So, you know what? Just for today, Davis, let's bring that one up next week. What's option
All
number
right.
2?
So Marcell Ozuna.
Okay, Marcell Ozuna. Now, you're getting somewhere because, and this is going to be a great transition into our segment that we're going to get to next, is the buy or sell, what every team should do at the trade deadline. The Padres are listed as they should go get Marcell Ozuna. All right, so the Padres get Marcell Ozuna. Is anybody else they get?
So the Braves assuming they don't like go full sell, they're trading Ozuna. They need outfielders, and they'd probably want a guy like maybe like Brooks and just like a prospect.
All right. Well, what's the prospect? Come on, they need a prospect here.
Austin Krob.
All right. You might have to give up one more piece for that. It's not bad, though. It's not bad. The odds of him dropping the Ward and Strickland is the funniest thing I've ever. That's hilarious. And the fact is, only the three of us in here have been laughing at that. Nobody else would really know.
Fantastic decision.
That was great. That was awesome. Davis, you're doing a great job. I look forward to your trade proposal next week. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. Dustin in San Diego, you're on the Braden Surprenant Show. What's going on, Dustin?
How you doing, guys?
Doing well.
Happy third, fourth, whatever we're on right now.
Happy almost holiday weekend, Dustin. You know, you going to have a weekend this weekend or what?
Absolutely. Going to be barbecuing some food, trying to figure out this Padres situation.
All right.
I got a couple names
before you get to that, what are you grilling this weekend? What do we got? What's going on at Dustin's house?
Okay, we're gonna do some shredded beef, so some beef chuck steak.
Nice.
Slow and low. We're gonna do some drumsticks. We're gonna do some ribs.
That's what?
Yeah.
That sounds like a great spread. I appreciate you enlightening us and hopefully, getting the menu started for maybe somebody else.
There you go. Exactly. And all on the Weber kettle too, by the way. I got a couple of
all
them,
right.
so I just split the coals in half and do it low and slow. So it should be good.
Charcoal's
you guys
great.
should come over.
Yeah. Thanks for the invite. We appreciate it. What should Frank bring?
Okay, so here's the trade. Okay, I think Adolis Garcia maybe, but if you look at his numbers this year, they're horrible. I think a sneaky one where we might be able to but trade a low-level prospect would be, if you look at his stats this year, Ramon Laureano, and he's $4 million this year. He's probably a free agent next year, I think, but he's having a good year for the Orioles. And we need that right-handed bat, somebody in left. We got to get Sheets out of there. He's looked better of late, but we need to get him out of there and just stick him in the DH spot. So Laureano, I know we need a catcher. Maybe it's time we bring Campy up. I know they had that article in the paper today. But Ramon Laureano, what are your thoughts?
He's one of the guys that we've listed before. Dustin, I appreciate the phone call, man. I hope you have a happy and safe 4th of July with you and your family. Thanks again for sharing us your spread you're going to have tomorrow. It sounds great, by the way. Laureano's listed as one of the players that we've been tracking because he is an outfielder for Baltimore. He is having a really good season. He is a rental mixed with a lot of rentals that Baltimore has. So it would be an upgrade. And as we mentioned before, you don't need a big splash in the outfield. You just need a competent hitter to make the lineup expand a little bit. Just has to be average. And again, the thing with Laureano, now, if you're trading for multiple years of Laureano, I wouldn't be in on it because he's okay. He's good sometimes, but he's an okay, he's a good major league player. And people are like, well, he's overrated and stuff like that. He's playing really well right now. You're only going to use him for a couple months. So right now, when you're looking at rentals and you're looking at players that are going to be available at the deadline that the Padres can get, rentals like Laureano fit. You got to get, and when you're looking at rentals, you're looking at players that are hot this year. Like a Brandon Drury was in 2022. He's not a guy that you wanted for a long period of time. He's a rental. You better, you want to hope that he is continuing to play at the level that he's playing at during the season you picked him up. And guess what? The rentals, sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. Adam Frazier was kind of one of those players that didn't work out. Right? Ended up sending him elsewhere too. So I like the idea. I mean, I don't think it's going to cost you really anything for a guy like him. I think Padres fans obviously are used to AJ Preller shooting for the moon, but it wouldn't be the worst. I think it'd be okay. It's not a bad move. Again, he's playing really well this year. There's other pieces on the Orioles. We mentioned it before. If the Padres made one move with Baltimore, they could solve all their problems with one move of rental pieces. Eflin, Laureano, Mullins, Gary Sanchez, even though he's hurt. Hopefully he's coming back. Those are things you could do. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. When we come back, we get back to your phone calls, and we'll talk more about potential trades that teams should move, or players that teams should acquire. when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show on San Diego's #1 Sports Station 97 through the Fan. I do want to mention this because it just came down not too long ago. Ken Rosenthal, everybody's favorite here, right? Everybody's favorite. You guys all love Ken Rosenthal, don't you? Ken Rosenthal had a piece on the Padres' difficult search for a catcher. Here's what he had to say. In The Athletic, San Diego Padres entered Wednesday ranked 26th in OPS at catcher. No matter how much they talk about how Elias Diaz and Martin Maldonado excel on the defensive side, they would like to upgrade offensively, but with whom? The A's' Shea Langoliers is eligible for arbitration this offseason for the first time. His agent is Scott Boras, who generally prefers his clients to establish their values on the open market, but the Athletics are not trading Langoliers, according to a source briefed on their plans. Cross him off the list. The Atlanta Braves' Sean Murphy is another catcher who is unlikely to move, even with the emergence of rookie Drake Baldwin and the injury to right-hander Spencer Schwellenbach, intensifying the team's gloom and doom, or doom and gloom, whatever which way you want to say it. Ken said gloom and doom. Under President of Baseball Operations, Alex Anthopoulos, the Braves almost always carry two quality catchers, and if they're going to trade Murphy, who is owed $45 million from 2026 to 2028, with a $15 million club option for 2029, they probably will wait until the offseason when they can involve more clubs. You can cross Sean Murphy off the list. Think back, this is again from Ken Rosenthal, about the Padres catching situation. Think back to the Garrett Crochet sweepstakes at last year's deadline. The Los Angeles Dodgers and Philadelphia Phillies made offers in the final 24 hours that the Chicago White Sox considered attractive. The Boston Red Sox, the team that ultimately acquired Crochet in December, were not believed to be in the mix. Getting back to the Padres, most teams with depth at catcher are reluctant to compromise it. The Baltimore Orioles just placed 3 catchers on the injured list in a span of 10 days. Once they are healthier, they could make Gary Sanchez available for a second stint in San Diego. Sanchez hit 19 homers and produced a .792 OPS for the Padres in 2023 after they claimed him on waivers from the New York Mets. So let's talk about the catching situation for a second. Everybody says the Padres need to go get a catcher, correct? I think everybody's in agreement on that. I've said it before, and I will continue to say it. They do not grow on trees. Having catchers that are good defensively and catchers that can hit are unicorns. They don't exist. And the ones that are good are on good teams. Teams are reluctant to trade good catchers, as mentioned in the article by Ken Rosenthal. The best you could possibly do right now is probably Gary Sanchez. Is that an upgrade? Yes, I would say it is. But at the same time, I mean, we knew about Gary Sanchez. He's been here in a Padres uniform. I just think that your best option at catcher right now, really, there is no best option. There seem to be better options than others. And I think that's a big reason why Kevin Acee this week wrote about might as well give Luis Camposano another shot. We talked about it about it today, considering last night that the San Diego Padres and Martin Maldonado, he doesn't provide anything offensively. We know that. He's really not a great defensive catcher. And the only thing that is giving him credit right now, and Diaz for that matter, is his handling of the pitching staff. Well, one of the pitchers you gave good money to and you traded for to be an ace-type pitcher is Dylan Cease, and he throws to Martin Maldonado. He's not helping him either. So as the Office Space quote goes, what exactly do you do here? I think could be played in this Martin Maldonado catching situation for the Padres, which throws the other question out that we asked yesterday that Kevin Acee put out in his daily newsletter about Luis Campusano. Look, I don't really think Luis Campusano is an answer by any means. But at this point in time, I don't know why you don't start at least trying Luis Campusano with Dylan Cease. It's not like Martin Maldonado is helping him out too much. It's going to throw him off. He is to the point where it's not that great. You might as well start implementing Campusano in the lineup at this point. And this is coming from somebody like that. I've already said, actions speak louder than words. You already know what you get out of Luis Campusano. You know what the Padres think of him when you have this big of a problem at the catching position and Campusano is still not on the major league team. The catching situation is dire for the Padres. And yes, it might be worse than left field, but I will tell you this. You're not going to find solutions on the trade market. Frank's idea of potentially trying to sign JT Realmuto during the offseason to help mold Ethan Salas for the future and be that bridge to the next generation of catcher for the Padres, I think is a good idea. That's not a trade deadline move. That is an offseason move. The catching situation for the Padres might not get solved at the trade deadline. It might have to come down to Luis Campusano. As we get the report from Ken Rosenthal and teams being reluctant to trade catching depth. Because again, look around Major League Baseball. There's not a plethora of catchers that rake and do well defensively. It's just not. You might as well just start giving Campusano a bunch of at-bats. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Let's get out to Jason and Encinitas. Jason, you're on the Braden Surprenant Show. What's going on, man?
Hey, Braden. Couple things. Just wanted to talk a couple things about the Padres' anemic offense, and sort of two things I'm kind of over with respect to their offense. The first is I'm over hearing Mike Schilt and members of the media talk every other day about how some pitcher's dealing. Wow, you really got to tip your cap. Nick Martinez hits him into the ninth inning, and then it's the next guy, and it's the next guy. And it's at what point do we say they're dealing in many cases because our offense sucks? Okay, that's number one. Number two, this idea that the first 20 games they had a reasonable offense and they were successful. The last 60 games, of course, it's flipped and they've been really bad. But the narrative is sort of, look, we got to get, they got to get back. They're in a slump. Well, they've had 60 games now where they've been awful, and they are what they are. I mean, maybe the possibility is that the first 20 games was an aberration, and that what we're really going to see in the second half, absent some move, is more of the same anemic offense where you look up in the eighth inning, they've scored one run or no runs, or have some guy that's just a guy throwing a no-hitter on them into the ninth inning. At what point does stop tipping the cap and stop talking about the slump? There is no slump. They've been this way for the last 60 games, and what you see is what you get.
Well, a couple of things on the offense. I think you haven't seen them put together the at-bats that they did at the beginning of the season when they were patient, not swinging out of the zone and getting good pitches to hit. And when they do get good pitches to hit, they rope the ball. You saw that in game one of yesterday. So from that perspective, yes. But the biggest problem with them is the lack of depth. I mean, it's caught up to them during the season where you don't get any production on your bottom three. You basically are filling out a lineup with 6.5 players every single game. And as much as the top half of the order is expected to carry the team, when you're an opposing team, you understand that I just have to kind of throw some crap up there against the top six because I know I'm going to get the bottom three out almost every single time. And eventually these guys are going to swing at it. And that's the Padres. Every time they get into a jam with runners in scoring position, guess who's up? It's not their stars. Sometimes it is. And they have to be almost perfect. But it's the Martin Maldonados and the Elias Diaz and the Trenton Brooks and, you go down the list. I mean, those are the players that are coming up with runners in scoring position. A lot. So they have to improve their depth. They do have to add some bats. And they just need some guys to grind out some at-bats at the bottom of the order. And then they need the stars to realize that they don't have to carry the team. Now, on the tipping of the cap, I totally agree. You could tip your cap a couple of times a season. You could do it a couple of times a season. If you want to say a couple of times a month, I'm okay with that too, because eventually you're going to run into a team that's very well. And I understand they're professionals too. They're trying to win a ball game. There's a lot of good athletes out there in Major League Baseball. But you can't do it multiple times a week. You can't do it multiple times a week. You got to be able to put together better at-bats. You got to be able to grind out at-bats. You got to be able to put up a good effort against good pitching. You got to be able to beat good pitching, because in the postseason, all you're going to see is good pitching. You're not going to see bad pitching in the postseason. You're going to see good pitching the entire time. So I agree. If you want to tip your cap to Nick Martinez on this road trip, you could do that. I mean, he pitched out of his mind on last Friday. But if you continue to say that on a road trip multiple times, it's going to fall on deaf ears. You can't always just be like, you know what, that guy just played really well. I mean, that's not gonna please the fan base. Maybe it pleases the clubhouse, but it's not going to please the fan base. It's a good call by Jason. We got to take a break. When we come back, we'll do some buy or sell. I've teased it long enough. We're going to get to that to finish up our show. And we'll get to Juan and Oceanside on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97 through the Fan.
Yo, it's OG Arabian Prince from the world's most dangerous group, NWA, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and scratch golfer in the building. Catch me on July 28th at Loma Santa Fe Country Club for the 4th annual Salute to Heroes charity golf tournament. We're showing love to the real heroes out there, so come hang out with me and all the other celebrities and heroes and sign up now at SanDiegoSocialLeagues.org. That's SanDiegoSocialLeagues.org. It's bigger than golf. It's bigger than us. Salute to heroes.
Hey, I'm Austin Gardner.
And I'm Kyle Lobe. We're the founders of GL Pools, San Diego's largest family-owned pool service and repair company.
We're grateful to have helped thousands of San Diegans keep their pools crystal clear since 2006, and we'd love to help you too.
Call GL Pools today and mention radio, and we will give you 1 free month of pool service so you can experience what pool service should be, with no contracts, no commitments.
You've worked hard for your backyard, and so will we. Visit glpools.com today and get back to enjoying your pool. That's glpools.com.
This 4th of July Sell-a-thon, your San Diego County Ford dealers proudly salute you. For over 120 years, Ford has been building trucks and SUVs for the people that move the country forward. And for a limited time, get the biggest deals on an incredible selection, like the built Ford Tough F-150 truck, part of Ford F-Series, America's best-selling trucks for 48 years and counting. Or the adventure-ready Ford Bronco and Bronco Sport, with GOAT modes to help you conquer the great outdoors. Plus, all military personnel, active, retired, and all veteran members of a military branch save even more. Freedom doesn't wait, and neither will these deals. It's the Ford 4th of July Sell-a-thon, and it's time to get behind the wheel of your brand new Ford truck or SUV. But hurry, these offers all end July 7th. So go to your San Diego County Ford dealers today, based on 1977 to 2024 calendar year total sales.
Hey, it's Ben Higgins here to discuss a serious topic I spent way too much time avoiding. As a parent, I know I want my family to be taken care of when I'm gone, and I just assumed things would be obvious if the unthinkable happened. But did you know that if you pass away without a will, the state decides what happens to all your assets and even your kids? But that's all avoidable thanks to Trust and Will's easy online process to nominate guardians and plan your legacy. Don't leave your most important decisions to the state. Visit trustandwill.com and create a plan. Use code FAN for a 20% discount at trustandwill.com.
Hi, this is Tina Howe from Bill Howe, where we've been serving San Diegans for over 40 years. Just like our hometown baseball team, we believe in teamwork, excellence, and delivering a win for our customers every day. From emergency plumbing repairs to routine heating and air maintenance, trust Bill Howe to keep your home running smoothly, supporting our community and our team together. Because at Bill Howe, we know how.
Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE. Bill Howe. We know how. My ride smells just right, just right, just right, just right. I gotta try that Febreze car. Just right, just right, just right, just right. La 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 la. With up to 40 days of consistency. All over Breeze car clips right on your fit. You know my car's my happy place. Keep that smile on my face. When it smells just right, just right, just right. Yeah, breathe happy for Breeze. La 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 la.
You ever try fixing your car and realize you're missing that one part? Yeah, been there. That's why eBay's my go-to. They've got millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. I'm talking brake pads for when yours have seen one too many miles of stop and go. Oil filters, because you don't mess around with your engine care. Even got this cold air intake on my watch list. I might just go for it. To keep the ride cool and your DIY streak hot. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
In the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Hey, that's the spirit. Right now, we're celebrating free with a free STP oil filter when you buy 5 quarts of oil and free Duralast brake pads when you buy 2 rotors. Like always, free battery testing, charging, and recycling at every store. Celebrate free at AutoZone now through July 28th.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Step up to the plate and add your favorite players to your lineup with Prize Picks. The best place to cash in on your favorite sports. The app is simple. Pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 2,000 times your cash. Download the Prize Picks app today and use the code ROAM and get $50 in bonus promo funds instantly when you play $5. That's code ROAM on Prize Picks to get $50 in bonus promo funds instantly when you play $5. Win or lose, you'll get $50 bonus credit just for playing. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks. Run your game. You do have to be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
This is Boomer Esiason with an Odyssey Sports Minute, sponsored by AutoZone. Get in the zone, AutoZone. After a record-tying 23 seeded players were eliminated in the first days at Wimbledon, 5 more seeded women joined them yesterday. World number 1 Arina Sabalenka is the only top 5 player still standing, and even she struggled. Next for Arina is 2021 U.S. Open winner Emma Raducanu. I'm Boomer Esiason.
I ain't trading my youth for no suit and jacket.
I'm ready to wrap this thing up today. It's been a long day of radio. Last 30 minutes of our 8-hour coverage.
Halfway home, boys.
833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. This is a college talk teased happening in the 5th hour. I mean, we could talk about it right now if we wanted to.
Yeah, I think we probably should.
Let's get to this.
Kind of
Let's rip through let's rip through these kind of trade deals here. On the buy or sell. Rangers should trade for Josh Naylor. Thoughts on that?
Sell. Why would
the Rangers need
Rangers...
offense? Where are the Rangers at right now?
They're not. They're
Their
nowhere.
pitching staff's legit. And they're a game under 500. So 2.5 games out of a wild card spot.
No,
9.5 behind the Astros.
They're a sell team.
They should sell.
It's a marginal sell team.
All right, we're out on that. I don't think trading for. I don't think that's going to save them either.
Not at all.
Miami Marlins should trade away Sandy Alcantara.
If you can get something for him, go for it. He's not giving you anything now.
And they already said that they didn't want to trade him. Cubs and Astros should trade for Alcantara. Sure.
I would say, I mean, of course you would. If you're a Cub, you
Kyle
would want
Glacier
him.
said at the beginning of the year, on opening day, he thought the Cubs would trade for Alcantara at the deadline.
Right, but
I'd love to see that prediction come true. So I'm rooting for it.
I would leave him for Houston because you don't know what Sandy Alcantara you're getting.
He's still got another year of control, doesn't he?
I believe so.
I think he does. You're taking a chance at this year, and then hoping you can continue it for next year. Royals trade away Seth Lugo.
So
I'm in on
I
that.
don't think I would love to see it, but I don't think it's going to happen.
I think the Padres should trade for Seth Lugo. It says
I
Dodgers
agree.
or Blue Jays should trade for Lugo. Why would the Blue Jays are competing again?
Yeah, go to
They're tied for
Toronto.
first.
Go to Toronto if you want to lose in the wild card. Go to the Dodgers if you want to never play baseball again.
True. Or go to the Padres and bring the vibes back. Lugo back in a Padres uniform. That's if this is even we've been talking about the Royals here.
That's peak content right there.
I think that would be great. I'd love to see Nick Martinez or Seth Lugo back in a Padres uniform. I'd like to hear Bayana coming out of the speakers at Petco Park for Nick Martinez to run in from the bullpen. In. Guardians trade away Emmanuel Clase. Add him to the list. Let's just, you know what? Have the Padres just go get all the former Padres. Shut the chat up a little bit.
That would not happen.
They said the Phillies should trade for Clase.
No.
You're saying they should not.
Well, no, they go for it, but Cleveland won't trade him away. They're leading the division.
Cleveland's not leading the division. Cleveland's out by like 10 games.
Oh, Detroit. I'm thinking it's
Detroit.
last year. I'm an
Detroit.
idiot.
Cleveland is 4 games under 500.
He draws the foul.
12 and a half games out of first place. You know what? I give you the benefit of the doubt because does anybody pay attention about the American League Central?
No.
How about that? Didn't I say that like first couple of weeks of the show? Is there anything more boring than an American League Central game in the middle at 10 o'clock in the morning on a Wednesday? Is there any sporting event more boring than that? You keep your mouth shut because you hate the NFL.
A lower bracket matchup at Wimbledon. Like when you're talking like
Wimbledon. We probably would not watch that.
You're talking like 140 versus 160. I'm not watching a play-in for a tennis tournament. Sorry.
The 2 worst NFL teams in the season playing on a Thursday night or Twins White Sox on a Wednesday morning.
You know my answer.
I know. I'm watching the football game.
I'm not.
I'm not watching Royals White Sox at 10 in the morning on a Thursday.
I stand on my principles.
I'd watch racing over that.
Now you're talking.
I watch NASCAR over that.
See? Look at you.
I don't mind NASCAR.
Off to Phoenix in November.
Probably not going to happen.
Well, I'm going.
You could go. By all means. I'd love to go. There's something called high school football I have to coach, so it kind of throws everything off a little bit.
You don't want to watch a championship race?
I'll watch it on TV.
No, well.
I do want to go to a NASCAR race. My family went to Bristol a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty cool.
We might be going next year.
All right. Keep working on it. Anything else on here? They said the Giants should trade for Ryan O'Hearn. No, thank you.
Yeah, no.
Let's not have that happen, please. Atlanta Braves trade away Marcell Ozuna. San Diego Padres trade for Ozuna.
Ozuna from the Braves has a hip injury.
Yes.
That he has continued to play through to his detriment.
He's getting worse.
A lot worse.
What was the tweet? The tweet said from that you sent me?
Where are the adults?
Where are the adults, he says.
In the Braves front office.
In the Braves front office to shut him down and not allow him to play anymore. Where are the adults? 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. Last check of traffic, correct?
Yes, it is.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is brought to you by the Salute to Heroes Golf Tournament, July 28th at Loma Santa Fe Country Club. Got some problems on a couple of our northbound freeways. North 163 at the 8, crash blocking all but the right lane. Watch out for people walking around. Also, northbound 805 right before the 52, an accident blocking the right lane. 4 or 5 vehicles involved in that. Northbound 15 before Bernardo Center, we have reports of a stalled vehicle in the HOV lane. The Salute to Heroes Golf Tournament is back July 28th at Loma Santa Fe Country Club. Join sport legends and celebrities and tee off to support local heroes. Register now at SanDiegoSocialLeagues.org. That's SanDiegoSocialLeagues.org. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Wood, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Angels should trade for Charlie Morton, it says. Are they buyers?
And you just got one nasty look.
Hey, I'd take it up with Dave Schoenfield. Red Sox trade away Walker Buehler.
It was a show me contract. He
didn't show us anything.
No, he's 5-6, a 6.45 ERA.
Ruben can fix him. Ruben can fix him. If they trade Ethan Salas for Walker Buehler, I might explode. But we'll see. Juan in Oceanside. You're on the Braden Surprenant Show. What's going on, Juan?
What's up, Braden? What's up, Frank? I'm calling because I have wanted to advocate for Adolis Garcia coming to San Diego to the point where I've actually been listening to Texas Rangers sports talk radio and
On the sister
reading as
station,
many
105.3
articles
The
as possible.
Fan out in Texas.
Yes.
Nice.
and they've been talking about needs that they could get, and there was a show, I don't remember what the host name was, but he talked about how they could get something from the Padres, and that is a starter with control, so someone like Kolek or Bergert, and those names were actually called out directly, and also a reliever with years, so someone like Yuki or Wandy, or even someone like Eduardo Nunez or somebody else who's in AAA.
Is that what their
But
show
I
said?
think, no, not the controller or the reliever with years, but the starter.
No,
with
the
control.
starter. I'd trade a Bergert for Adolis Garcia. It's not a bad idea.
No, you feel like you're winning that trade.
Thanks, Texas. Appreciate it. How many years does Adolis Garcia have? I mean, he hasn't been very good either. So
he hasn't been great this year. He has
yeah,
not been.
but he's got potential. Adolis Garcia's got ARB 3 in 2026. He's making $9.2 million. I like this. He's 32 years old. You get him for a year and a half. A young starter with control is not the worst if you're the San Diego Padres. You'd have to make a decision on either Kolek or Bergert.
See, chat, but this is what we mean. This is what we mean by good callers and good thoughts, because you guys just go in the chat. I'll fire this guy, fire that guy, do a trade this guy, and give not a singular idea. We're getting ideas here today. We like ideas.
I love the reliever with control. Go ahead. Take Yuki.
These are called ideas.
Go ahead. We'll send Yuki that way, and we'll take Adolis Garcia. If that's what they're interested in, sounds good. All right. Pac-12 added a team in Texas State. We talked about this briefly. Not great. John Wilner reporting they might not be done. They could potentially be adding more pieces. Like Rice and UTSA, and Memphis isn't bad, but still, like, what are we doing, Pac-12? Pac-12 fans have now felt emboldened, by the way, to say that they're a power conference for the addition of Texas State, who didn't even have, wasn't even good in Conference US, in the Sun Belt. And don't tell me this, Sun Belt's great. Sun Belt's good for what they are, but, I mean, are we just going to have 16 mediocre schools? I can't wait for Sacramento State to be part of the Pac-12. At least they got money. That's problem number one. The NCAA has got so many other issues, too. I mean, just so many other issues. One of them even came out today where Ohio State is a Nike brand, but one of their players just signed on with Adidas, and now there's a legal fight of whether or not he's allowed to wear Adidas clothing for Ohio State on the field during a game. Just more cans of worms that you have to deal with if you're college athletics. By the way, here come the lawsuits, too, with Title IX, because in this new House settlement, Title IX was not a factor. And so now all of the women's sports are arguing they should be getting equal pay as men's basketball and football. We'll see how that works out. Every avenue that they continue to go down in college athletics opens up another major problem that they can't handle. The other one thing, as the House settlement continues, or like they solved it, whatever, in Ross Dellinger's article from Monday, he mentions how as college sports enters its most transformative era, many power league ADs are urging leaders to explore collective bargaining. So having the players make a deal with the colleges. They're attending CBA presentations, and one SEC athletic director reveals his, quote, athlete employee plan. Goes, I'm not biting my tongue anymore. some things to pick out of there. The 4 main things out of Ross Dellinger's article, and you can check it out. He writes for Yahoo. The House settlement has big antitrust issues. College athletes are now paid to play a sport. Many college athletes are employees under a legal test. We'll see how that plays out. And the best model moving forward involves negotiating rules with players. This is going to get really interesting. This is going to get extremely interesting with some of these collective bargaining agreements. Because in these collective bargaining agreements, it's not just going to favor the player. The schools are going to get something back. They're going to get contracts over more than like 2 years or 3 years that they can't get out of. It's going to be like you can't transfer. There's going to be something like trades. I mean, these are all of the things that the schools are going to want, or the athletic departments, or should I say the conferences are going to want to make things competitive that are going to affect the athletes that are now going to be paid professionals, on top of the can of worms of the fact that if these kids are paid by the schools, and a lot of the state schools, they're state employees. How's that going to work out in the state of California if the starting quarterback for Cal Berkeley is making more than the governor? I just thought in certain states, I just know how it's going to work. You're going to get your first chance at like a union and arguing and bargaining and all this other stuff. The Tennessee athletic director is trying to separate the two to get the collective bargaining, but also at the same time, make it separate from the school, so they're not school employees, they're employees of like the athletic department, and it's kind of like a little bit of both, but it would only apply to football. It just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. It's incredible. And I'm just saying, like, if you think, and you're in the Pac-12, you think that you're going to be able to compete with a lot of these schools that have these resources, it's going to be rough news for you. I mean, really, they want to expand more the Pac-12? They added Texas State, and then think about Rice and UTSA. Could you imagine if they added Rice and UTSA? The WAC 3.0 is what it would be. It's not even on the same line as other power conferences. We mixed in some of the college talk. We'll talk more about that next week as things continue to develop and get more and more out of hand in the college athletic world. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. Stay tuned. You will hear more of the Braden Surprenant Show coming up shortly. Unless it's 1:30 your time, then you won't. We'll talk to you guys on Monday on the Braden Surprenant Show. Have a good 4th of July weekend. Bye-bye.